Venture capitalists were pouring money into companies trying new things with blockchain that could solve real world problems with more efficiency, lower costs, and better kept records. These tokens define what's called DeFi, decentralized finance, and DeFi was the dominant narrative from 2020 through late 2021. But if you put the narrative aside, you see that many of these tokens launched with dynamics that are not in favor of an investor. VCs are able to buy tokens ahead of launch for cheap and stand to gain the most financially. The companies themselves often sell tokens to maintain operations, and that's probably being generous. This bull run saw a high of $3 trillion in the total crypto market. Much of that money was abused primarily due to the core mechanics of the token contracts themselves. By early 2021, mass hysteria had set in. Buying was relentless. The masses were here, taking over TikTok and YouTube and timelines everywhere. This time was different, they said. And then in November 2021, Bitcoin hit $69,000 and proceeded to bleed all the way down below 20K, all the way until July 2022. But let's back up. In August 2020, a very simple token contract is launched on the Ethereum network by an anonymous person known as Ryoshi. The token is called Shiba Inu. It's launched with $3,000 in liquidity, which is practically nothing. Some say Vitalik Buterin donated the liquidity to Ryoshi after meeting him in Osaka, Japan. This token had no pre-sales, no insiders, no dev wallets. In many ways, it was pure, in stark contrast to the dominant narrative tokens. So what do we know about Ryoshi? Ryoshi has demonstrated through his actions humbleness and humility. With Sheeb, the humble origins created a dedicated community that, over time, grew exponentially, and unlike other tokens that were ripe for abuse, there was no leverage here. Everyone was on equal footing, had equal opportunity to take part. And because of this little 3K liquidity token grew all the way to a $40 billion market cap in October 2021. Well, Sheeb was community driven, and during the course of its origins, many community members became team members, folks like Shibarium and Satoshi. Some disagreed with Satoshi's methods, using Sheeb as a brand to launch products and tokens that did little to benefit Sheeb holders. In now deleted posts from May 30th, Ryoshi himself displayed disappointment. A split was taking place behind the scenes as ideologies waged war. And on May 30th, 2022, Ryoshi deletes all of his posts on Twitter, all of his mediums on Sheeb, and changes his profile picture to Milarepa, a master yogi from over 900 years ago. And 4 days prior, an unknown token launches on Ethereum with no tax, no pre-sale, no dev wallets, and about 3K in liquidity called Tsuka. In this section, we will attribute why we believe Ryoshi Research made the Tsuka token, aside from the similarities in methods of launching. Alongside the launch of this token, on-chain messages began being deployed by the Tsuka token deployer. A token deployer is essentially the wallet that created the token, so we know these messages come directly from the developer. These messages, being on blockchain, cannot be altered or modified. The timestamps are permanent. These messages contain alpha and clues that have now foreshadowed several events that came to pass. For simplicity, I am going to identify the key clues linking Tsuka and Ryoshi. Clue number 1. Tsuka is a cipher of Sangyan Haruka, the author of Life of Milarepa. Milarepa was the first enlightened Tibetan Buddhist master, and Ryoshi Research adopted his image on May 30th. Tsuka token launched May 26th. Clue number 2. On May 28th, Ryoshi messaged on-chain 1143. While there are no hard dates on when Milarepa was born or died, 1143 is one of the common years he was believed to have passed. Clue number 3. On the same day, 2 messages in a row used a specific amount of ether, 0.0001144. 1144, 1144, is another year believed to be Milarepa's passing. Clue number 4. On May 29th, the deployer uses 0.0001969 ether. 1969 is the year of the Shiba Koken art exhibition, one Ryoshi himself has referenced with the creation of Shiba coin. Ryoshi and double meanings are synonymous. This art exhibition showcased a piece that Ryoshi used in his infamous I Am Ryoshi medium, which was posted on the exact same day, May 29th, 1 year prior. Clue number 5. None of the above clues were put together until a message on June 11th, which stated, "Sengyon is right if you listen." This was the key he gave us to go back and discover the meaning of the name Tsuka, discover the Milarepa connection, and discover the connection to Ryoshi, all in messages that took place before Ryoshi's profile change. Wild, isn't it? This shows meticulous planning, attention to detail, and makes it difficult to argue this is not Ryoshi. The odds of guessing Ryoshi would signal attention to Milarepa via his Twitter, not once, but several times, are so astronomically low, I can't even calculate them. Then, on May 30th, around the same time Ryoshi deletes all of his mediums on Shiba and every post on Twitter, the deployer spits out another message. "I need nothing. I seek nothing. I desire." Good thing about this message is it can't be deleted. In the May 30th message, the developer is using an infamous Milarepa quote, "I need nothing, I seek nothing, I desire nothing," except it's missing the third nothing. The community begins noticing a pattern of words being used incorrectly, odd capitalizations, and syntax. For example, 2 messages contain "don't" with a space instead of "don't." We know these mean something, but what? The details of this next section are best explained in our medium, and we recommend you reading the process and methodology used in cracking an incredibly complex cipher hidden in the messages. This cipher led us to a seed phrase, which gave us access to a huge set of wallets. We're still processing what these wallets mean. The medium on these wallets is linked below. The important takeaway here is that Tsuka is developed by someone of true genius. These are not simple codes and ciphers. The community is still working towards several aspects of this and invites anyone watching to join our research. Ryoshi's name is Ryoshi Research, after all, and this is what he is asking us to do, to work together on these messages. Let's talk about why Milarepa and Sengyon may be important to Ryoshi. Sengyon Haruka was a writer and master of Tibetan Buddhism, his most famous work being Life of Milarepa, which documented a profound Tibetan Siddha named Milarepa. Milarepa's life journey is a story of the utmost redemption. As a young man, Milarepa, in his rage, murders everyone in his village, an act of revenge for being deprived of wealth. Facing immense sorrow at his deeds, he sought Buddhist teachings, and by the time of his death, he had become a fully realized yogi. He had attained enlightenment and carried many Buddhist teachings forward to new audiences. Milarepa is one of the most important figures in Tibetan history, bringing the lessons of India to Tibet and defining Buddhism for centuries to come. When we consider Shiba's humble beginnings and where it went, we can infer that Ryoshi may have ended up somewhere with Shiba he had not intended. We highlighted earlier the known bickering between Ryoshi and the remaining Shiba leadership. Some experts in the Shiba community believe Ryoshi left the project May 30th, 2021, a to-the-date exact full year from his profile picture change on Twitter. Something that may have toiled in his mind is, how do you build something new without destroying the community that made you? And if you do hurt that community, can you still achieve enlightenment? Milarepa did. Milarepa brought the message of Buddhism to Tibet, and it was too important to not be done, even if some would doubt him or his intention. So what is Ryoshi's message? Ryoshi is a decentralization purist. He believes that no one person is more valuable than another, and that when power becomes consolidated, it becomes disingenuous. The Shiba token has become less about decentralization and more about a brand, a launchpad for various products and tokens that don't benefit the community. They dilute the community and put money in the pockets of the Shiba leadership. This was never his dream or goal. The formation of a crypto community can be thought of nothing less than absolute chaos. But through this chaos, beautiful things do happen. It takes immense pressure to forge a gem, cataclysmic forces. Soon, the community leadership looks less like shitcoin shillers and more like a group of anonymous, decentralized researchers, dedicated to piecing together the clues and puzzles in the messages. There were many things that stood out on-chain. a screenshot of $155 million, messages of funding secured, a shout out to certain crypto Twitter influencers, including Bitlord, who also claims to have had lunch with Ryoshi around the time of the message. There is a message directed at CZ from Binance stating, "Remember our conversation at the casino in Macau?" Capitalized letters that spell out Ryoshi's dream is, and that's all we have so far. And then finally, the ciphers, leading us to a seed phrase. So all this said, you might be wondering, why doesn't Ryoshi make it plain? Why doesn't he simply tweet today that he made Tsuka? In our view, this would destabilize the project and compromise the inherent goal. Ryoshi knows the power of his influence. If his goal is to build a truly decentralized project, he can't let it be owned by those simply buying for his name, Ryoshi Research. This project is meant for the researchers, the diggers. Some of us in crypto are most excited by the clues and their meaning. So, Ryoshi has created an infinite well for us to draw from. Because of this, there is no sell the news event. And if he ever did tweet about Tsuka, every exchange on Earth would be vying for the token and would have to market buy their share. Since mid-June, the total supply has dwindled on Uniswap, hovering between 2 and 4%. Now imagine billions of dollars squeezing into what's left of the supply, and you have the greatest supply shock in the world. With that in mind, yes, we do believe Ryoshi will make it clear. On June 4th, he messaged, "When I show my hand, there will be no questions. I am a fisherman, but do not cast for red herring." He is saying that he will show his hand, and there will be no question it is him. Ryoshi means fisherman in Japanese, and red herring typically implies a distraction. So we take this to mean that everything presented to us is deliberate and every word intentional. Due to the way the contract was launched, the strength of the community, and the belief in who made it, there is little reason to think Tsuka doesn't have a multi-year run into the billions. Shiba hit a 40 billion market cap. What could a project that takes the best lessons from Shiba, adds new pillars for strong community building by teaching Buddhist tenets like patience, possibly achieve? We are along for the journey. The journey is the destination.
Alrighty. And with that said, good afternoon, Whale Coin Talk community. My name is Noah, and I'm here today with community members of Tsuka. That was an intro video into the mystery of Tsuka, the on-chain evidence, some argue irrefutable evidence that the creator of Tsuka is also the creator of Shiba. But I'm going to pass it on to the community members here. I'm not sure who wants to intro first, but before we jump into the world of Tsuka, give us a quick background of yourselves, each one of you, your career trajectory, and how you found yourselves working in the crypto industry today.
We can get more speakers up here? Is it just us?
So far, it looks like, yeah. Looks like you guys have 4 speakers up.
Ivani, you want to kick us off, man?
Okay, Paddy's the speaker now. If you want me to start, guys, I start by myself, no problem. So yeah, so I'm Dustin on Twitter and Ivani on in Telegram, and I'm a semi-OG member of the Tsuka Sangha. I'm a former journalist, PR guy, producer, director, things like this, and I've been in crypto since late 2012. On and off crypto, it's not like I've been consistently in the space for the last 10 years, unfortunately. But I've been back for the last 2 years and a half, and I've been there nonstop since then. And Tsuka, it might be the best, the most beautiful thing I ever found in crypto. So I'm very, very happy to be here with you guys.
Mr. Stash, you want to take the mic here, my friend? Introduce yourself.
Sure. Thank you. I'm Patty Stash. I guess most of you guys might know me because I talk too much. But no, I've been in crypto about 6 years, and I don't think I've been more fired up about a token in my entire life than I am about Tsuka. And I'm excited about it right now because of the way the chart is set up, but I'll get into that later. But yeah, I really do believe that Tsuka is a complete freak to the rest of the market. I think that a lot of people are looking at it as simply a meme coin when they have no idea how in depth the token actually is. You know, it's like an onion in a sense where it's got so many different layers that you could peel off that all, in a sense, have value in some way. And so, you know, the one thing that I look for in everything that I do in life is value. Because if everyone believes something has value, everyone will want it. So my whole philosophy with, you know, investing is trying to find the next big thing that everyone in the world will want to buy before they actually buy it. And I believe that because of the 20 plus years experience I have in markets and just my understanding of economics, politics, you know, social economics, I'm able to mash all that together and kind of come up with this idea, what is Tsuka. And I think it's just going to be a matter of time before people actually catch on to how much of a mathematical anomaly freak outlier this token is to the rest of the market. So it'll, you know, it'll be a little bit, but just wait. Thank you.
My name is PR Russ. Some of you know me as Russ PR. It depends on where you found me on the Telegram or on Twitter. I am a very grateful member of the Tsuka Sangha. Very glad to be here every day. I wake up. I'm excited to see what this whole community has to bring. As you know, we are pretty much on a tour right now, just doing as many AMAs as possible. And I don't know, couldn't be happier to be here. I've been in this space for a few years now, not nearly as long as a lot of the people here. I'm really grateful for everyone who's paved the way for us to be here today. But I have a small finance background. I own a small business, so you know, the fundamentals are really important, and that's kind of what led us all to where we are here. But yeah, real happy to be here, guys. Thanks for having us.
Hey guys, Uncle Nut here, or Crypto Nut. The name says it all. I'm a nut, a little crazy. Blessed to be here as well. Thank you, Noah, and the fellow speakers, and of course the community that's turned up to listen. Me too. I feel eternally grateful to be introduced to Tsuka, and it's definitely been a journey of discovery. I started in crypto around 7 years ago. I've been liquidated, scammed, drugged. Lucky enough to got out the other side, probably because I bought it for giving times at the beginning. So I was not thrown into crypto hell. I co-founded an NFT project called Crypto Alien Babes, CABS for short, with Starseed, which holds the awesome history as the first ever anime NFT on the blockchain. I learned how to do FA from past lives and TA from one of the leaders in the business, a guy called Hagen. Started off posting my trading calls on TradingView, ended up being banned for sharing my Twitter handle there. Didn't know you had to pay to do that. Fortunately, some of my calls are still up, even though the account was banned. Had a pretty insane run with a number of 1,000 times X calls, some of them a lot more than that. The most notable ones being Ant shares, which turned into Neo, Verge, Matic, Doge, Redcoin, and some others. Basically, how I got here was a friend who I'd been sharing my calls before I went public with all my calls. He said, listen, why don't you share some of these bombs with other people, man? He said, do it. So that's what I did. I believe in transparency and sharing knowledge. So that's how I did it. I basically write reviews on tokens I really love. Tsuka fell into that category. It was brought to my attention by CP. Those probably people here probably know him as CryptoPunk24. Amazing guy that was part of my community as well. And he said, listen, you've got to have a look at this token. It's unbelievable. And you're probably going to hear this a few times today, but basically when I looked, I've got 10 quick points that I checked. Most tokens I get recommended don't get past 3 or 4. It just blew me away what I saw on the tokenomics side. I compared it to SHIB, compared it to, the things I had references to. And the deeper I got, the more in love I got with the token. So, I went on this crazy little tunnel of discovery, where I was just digging dark holes and finding light everywhere I turned. And of course, the biggest light was the community itself. So yeah, I wrote a 9-page report back in November. I discovered Tsuka later than most people. I got in when, well, I first started looking at it when I guess it was like 12 or 13 cents, and thought, I missed the boat on the first pump, so let's just wait. Wrote a report. By the time the report was done, It was down to about 5 cents. I waited a bit longer. It got down to just under 4 cents. And then I released a report to my community, and within 48 hours, it had done a 2x and 3x another 24 hours later. But yeah, I'll pass over to somebody else to so we can keep this moving along.
I guess everyone is intro themselves, correct?
Yeah, I think that's all of us.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's dive in, guys. From my understanding, Tsuka is a community-driven token that was supposedly launched by Ryoshi, the creator of Shiba. No pre-sales, no insiders, no dev wallets, and I think one of you mentioned that as you continue to peel the layer back, you find that there is more and more value with each layer. So I guess we can start by give us a high-level overview of what Tsuka is. Again, a community-driven coin, it seems, and the creator is supposedly Ryoshi based on a number of different pieces of evidence that can be tracked on-chain. I was able to kind of digest the video before I replayed it over the course or over the broadcast. But that said, let's assume that Ryoshi is the creator of Tsuka, and Tsuka is a community-driven project, a coin token ecosystem, whatever you might want to call it. Why Tsuka? And it's a question. Why Tsuka? I would love to hear from the community themselves.
Okay, guys, you want me to take that one to start with? That one?
Dustin, you couldn't be better to answer why Tsuka, my friend. Get out there.
Absolutely. So as you've said it, my friend, Tsuka indeed has pretty much perfect tokenomics. It has no insider wallets. It has absolutely no form of tokens being allocated to any insider of any kind, whether it is dev, team, or any kind of insider. It hasn't been pushed by any paid influencer ever. So it's it's very atypical in many ways. I'll let Paddy go into the details and explain why those tokenomics are so fundamental, so important, and how they explain a lot of the price action and the very, very unique, outlier style behavior that Tsuka has pretty much showcased during the second part of the 2022, during some of the absolute worst times in the bear market. But if I had to answer this quickly, why Tsuka? Well, it's very simple. If you look at what the last few years in crypto have taught us, what would you say is the most incredibly powerful asset class in crypto? The one that does the wildest moves, the one that gets the most attention, the one that riles people, engages people the most. I'm going to answer myself. I think everyone knows by now. It's what you call meme coins. And obviously, in 2021, Shiba Inu did an absolutely incredible run, something that we've never ever seen in crypto before. It went up almost 1 million times in less than a year, which is absolutely incredible performance that you cannot deny. Whether you are, you're a fundamental analyst and you absolutely care about fundamentals, or whatever your thing is, really, you can't deny that kind of performance. And I don't know many people today who could say with a straight face that they did not touch Shiba, that they doubted Shiba, they faded Shiba, and that they don't regret doing it. I can certainly say myself that I faded Shiba. That actually I was following Paddy at the time, for a while. And I saw his early Shiba Inu calls on his Twitter. And you know what? Even though I knew the guy was like solid, honest, and that he was like, he was very careful about what kind of assets he was recommending, that he was not someone who's, like fickle in any way. Even though I saw Paddy give a compelling rationale and explain why that was a good bet, you know what? I felt I just wanted to be smart, I just wanted to be smart. Nah, I'm not going to touch this. I'm not going to touch this, And guess what? By far my biggest mistake of the last run, by far. So obviously I'm not going to do that again. And this triggered some kind of a deep thinking in myself and many other people. I actually went back and looked at what happened, tried to understand my own prejudice, and try to understand what I missed pretty much and what actually happened. And that got me to pretty much fully re-examine the very concept of meme coins, what they really are, and go beyond, the superficial dog coin narratives that we've seen, and pretty much what the media has painted about meme coins, which is a very, very superficial narrative overall, but that does not account for what really happened. So yeah, the thing is, what's the most bullish asset class? It's meme coins. How do you know what kind of meme coin has a chance to perform in a extraordinarily well, and what actually drives this kind of performance? Well, in this case, it's incredibly easy for me to tell, because there's pretty much only one community token, meme coin, that's outperformed every single token launched during the second part of 2022, pretty much launched during the bear. Only one. There's nothing that comes even close. And this token is called Tsuka. And as you said yourself, I don't know if you guys will want to have us elaborate a little bit about the links to Ryoshi later or no, but we said so far we kind of let's admit this is Ryoshi. So this token has a very unique pedigree. It is directly linked to the biggest culture of the last cycle. It's performed incredibly well. It's built a community unlike any other I've seen before during the bear market, and it's absolutely key that it was launched during the bear market, because as some other people in CT, in crypto, have observed very, very rightfully so, it's almost impossible to build a very solid core community during a bull market. You just have too many people who are here just for quick gains, P&Ds, so too many grifters, too many people who just laugh and are just trying to project some things that are not genuine, pretty much. So it's almost impossible, in my opinion, to really build a very, very solid community during at the peak bull market, because you don't really know who you're doing this with. You don't really know the people who are in. You don't know how, you don't really know, are they in for just for a quick pump? Do they actually believe in the mission? Are they actually trying to build something for the long term? It's almost impossible to know. But in a bear market, things become incredibly clearer. The fog of war has dissipated, and the people who are there, and especially in a token like Tsuka, are people who have a genuine interest in crypto, who have a vision for crypto, and the people that actually remain in Tsuka are the very rare kind who are not, only degens. They are not here only for the casino experience, but they're actually here for a chance to build what crypto enables overall. So yeah, that makes Tsuka pretty much the absolute favorite for the next run, in my opinion. There's just no doubt about it. Overperformance. It's linked to Ryoshi. It's been targeted by hundreds of scams, unlike any other token launched within the last few months. It's been something absolutely insane. One of our community members recently actually measured that stuff, and he told us that more than 1,300 tokens called containing the words either Dejitaru or Tsuka had been launched, all of them obviously being like scams, soft scams, copycats, leeches, and that's accounting for only a very, very tiny portion of the insane onslaught, tsunami of tokens targeting Tsuka, trying to leech the brand, trying to ride Tsuka's coattails. You've had all kinds of dragon coins, Japanese name coins, meditation themed coins, various projects trying to borrow some tiny part, some superficial part of the Tsuka narrative. All of those things are very, very strong indicators that you have a very, very unique asset here. So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, but yeah, there are many other things to say about the memetics aspect and why the community building as it's being done by Tsuka is unique, but I think we'll keep that for later and other questions.
Can I just add something to what, Dustin said? You were mentioning at the beginning, you were saying how I was talking about SHIB early and you really didn't pay attention to it all that much. But, I do appreciate the fact that you say how, the tokens that I talk about are actually tokens that I either believe
Oh,
in or that
oh
I.
man, yeah. I saw all your calls and I chose to ignore it. It's not even that I
So,
didn't pay attention to it. I paid attention to it. I chose to ignore it. I never do that again, man. I can tell.
but it's okay. That's the thing. A lot of people ignored it. So let me take things back a little bit and just put things into perspective for people. So back in the beginning of 2021, when I first came across SHIB, the market cap was about $50,000. When I first came across this token, it struck me as something that immediately was special. And the reason I say this is because, very similar to the situation with Tsuka, it had this mathematical balance to it, but it had something that was more important, which was the catalyst. And that catalyst, in my mind, was a psychological element that I thought was going to throw the entire market into, a bit of confusion, which would lead to more buying on this little no-name token at the time called SHIB that had a $50,000 market cap. So everyone in the market was like Doge, 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 Doge. My entire life since I was in high school, I first got into stocks. I used to be a penny stock guy, and I used to be a penny stock picker, and I had tremendous success. There's a website called Investors Hub. I was the #1 poster in the world on that post. And what I mean, or on that page, and what I mean by that is, if someone thinks that they think that you know what you're talking about, they follow you. This is before MySpace. This is before following or any of that stuff. And I had more followers than anything. So, I never really thought much of it. But now that I look back on it, that told me something. I knew what I was doing and other people saw it. So when I first came across SHIB, it was the same situation as what happened to me with Tsuka. Everybody, I think, remembers leading up until July 3rd, I was talking about multiple different altcoins, NFTs, this, that, and everything stopped when I saw Tsuka because I said, this is something special. The same thing happened when I first came across SHIB. This is one thing, so a lot of people talk about their past accolades and it's like, I did this, and I never really talk about things like that. But I will say, go back, do some searches on Twitter, try to find a single person in the world that talked about SHIB the way I did for as many months as I did before anybody even knew what the hell it was. I had, as Dustin was saying, a very specific reason that I said that this token is going to have value. And I was talking about the psychological element of the dog, which is a Shiba Inu, which was the face of the Doge coin. I was saying when new money enters this market and you have Elon Musk talking about a Shiba Inu, which is a Japanese dog, they're not going to associate it to Doge, but instead the token that has the spelling of it. SHIB. So the day that Elon Musk made a tweet saying, I want a Shiba Inu, everything changed. And I literally said, this is what I waited for because I knew it was going to happen because of the setup. So basically, Tsuka has that exact same setup as SHIB. And it's like right now, we're in the same situation as when I first discovered SHIB and talked about it for months. Again, go on Twitter, check my posts. I kept talking about it. I'm saying this is the token that's going to beat Doge. This is the one that's going to take it down. It didn't take it down because Doge had millions and millions of holders. SHIB had 50,000. But at the end of the market cycle, Doge was at like 4 million and SHIB was at 1.3. So if you do the math on that, the number, percentages, the growth of SHIB absolutely destroyed Doge. So I am taking that exact same philosophy and I'm rolling it over into Tsuka. So for all the people, there were hundreds of them who had contacted me for months and months and months after SHIB made its pump. And they were asking me, how did you know? And I said, I've been in the market for 20 years. I understand a lot of things that most people don't. When I look at a token, I could process 50 things in a split second that I don't even realize that I'm doing just because I've been doing it for 25 years. Whereas most people can't even figure out one thing that I just did in my mind. And it's like, I am not trying to sound like I'm Ohio Almighty and I brag because I try to remain humble. But when I find something and I have the conviction that I do, my gut almost never steers me wrong. There have been tokens that I invested in that people, things didn't play out in the first couple weeks, first couple months. And it's like, I get a lot from people where they're like, Patty, you were mentioning this token. And it's like, yes, I'm still mentioning it. Nothing has changed. However, my timeframes and your timeframes are different. I play full market cycles because I understand in one market cycle, you could turn $1,000 into $50 million. It's happened so many times. So many people have made so much money in just one market cycle. So if you understand accumulating a quality token that you believe in at the bottom before the market actually takes off, and you hold it to the top, and if you sell it, you could literally change your life. So it's like the most important thing about Tsuka right now is for people to understand how I came to the conclusion that I did with SHIB and how that directly correlates to Tsuka. And in my opinion, Tsuka on paper is far superior to SHIB in many, 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 many ways. The most important thing is the fact that it's the epitome of decentralization. And what I mean by that is, why is everyone in crypto? Why was Bitcoin created? Think about what happened when the housing market collapsed in the early 2000s and everything went to shit. And it's like Bitcoin was the internet money that was created as a peer-to-peer network to eliminate centralized powers, banks. Banks are what rule the world. The Federal Reserve controls the world. People probably don't realize Federal Reserve is a company that's just a completely separate entity to the United States. They're the ones that print the money that they give to central banks. They can print as much money as they want. So it's like saying, if you have the ability to print an unlimited amount of money, that inflation would drive the price of that money to zero. So having a fixed supply in a token is an extremely important thing. So long story long, the idea that I had with SHIB early on that I was fixated on for months before anyone actually saw what I saw, I'm seeing the same thing in Tsuka. And I believe that Tsuka is superior to SHIB, but the best part about it is when SHIB came to life, it was already in the middle of a bull market. So that time frame was a relatively short period of time that it had to grow. However, with Tsuka, we are literally at what I believe is the bottom of the market here. So if we can accumulate a token that has value and wait until the peak of the market cycle, we will have literally 2 years of accumulation, 2 years of this token to get more recognition and grow during that time. So by the time this market cycle begins to peak, I honestly have no idea how high this token could go, but I do believe it has the capability of breaking a $100 billion market cap. And I say that for a multitude of reasons, and I sound like a crazy person for saying it, but if you look at the macro scale of what these markets did, in 2017, the total market cap of crypto hit about 1 trillion. In 2020, the total market cap hit about 3.5 trillion. So if we continue that same trajectory, I would assume by 2024, 2025, we could very easily hit a market cap of $7 to $9 trillion. And if you look at the historical analytics and data and statistics of what tokens were the most successful during these market cycles, you will see the last market cycle, meme coins absolutely blew everything out of the water because it's part of the culture, it's part of everything. If everyone can relate to a specific token, what is going to change? History has a tendency to repeat. So if this next market cycle is, exponentially larger than the last one, if you had tokens like Doge that hit almost $100 billion market caps and SHIB hitting $50 billion market caps, if they all grow by 3 times more, who's to say that Doge can't hit a $300 billion market cap, SHIB can't hit a, $150 billion market cap. But the most important thing is, if the ideology of people investing into SHIB because it was smaller than Doge but did the same thing, what if they have that same ideology with Tsuka and basically say, Tsuka on paper right now is better than both Doge and SHIB. It's trading at 1/150th the price, but people are scared to buy it or they don't have the accessibility to do so. It's only going to be a matter of time before we get listed on all the tier 1 exchanges, KuCoin, Huobi, OKX, Binance, Coinbase. It might take time, but those are all positive forward-looking events that we have to look forward to that Doge and SHIB have already experienced. Go back, look what happened with SHIB when it listed on Binance. Go back, look what happened on SHIB when it listed on Coinbase. That's the stuff that we have to look forward to. So right now, we are sitting on something that's literally a mathematical anomaly, and it's just a matter of waiting. But the best part is we don't have to worry about the team dumping because there is no team to dump. So if we just go sideways, it's a matter of time before the market grows, demand comes in, we reach that saturation level, which leads to a tipping point, which drives the price higher, pushing it over 15 cents. And then when it happens, everyone in the market's going to then look at Tsuka and say, holy crap, what is this token? Where did it come from? It's not even listed on any of the big exchanges yet. Oh my God, what happens if it does? These are the things that I think about every day. And when I'm looking at the chart right now, and I'm looking at this massive inverted head and shoulders on the 1 day, big time frame, big day, not 1 hour. The 1 day is forming an inverted head and shoulders. And on the 3 day, there's a massive sweeping MACD crossover. Histogram just crossed green. Like, this thing is all systems go. I've never been more bullish on a token. And it's like, I've been investing for over 20 years, and I could seriously, on my life, like, I have never felt more comfortable in an investment because of the fact that this is a mathematical freak. And that math is what gives me the confidence, because I don't believe people. People lie. People change things. They flip-flop. Math never changes. So if you rely on the math, you're just going to wait for that demand to come in, and it's just going to be it's going to be go time. So sorry for taking so long and rambling there, but I guess I get kind of carried away.
Not at all. So a lot of questions, and I'm not saying whether I'm going to buy or not buy Tsuka, but I am going to play devil's advocate here, so we don't have an echo chamber, and so people can, if they're on the fence, make a better decision about what they're going to go doing forward. One, why do you call it a mathematical freak? What is it about the design and the mathematics that make it, in your mind, stand out and distinguish itself versus Shiba and Doge? Because I would make the argument that Doge was the first one. Doge is on its own layer 1 blockchain. Shiba rose up because you had one of the most prolific people in the world talking about Doge and talking about Shiba Inu. So what is it about Tsuka from a mathematical perspective, and also what is going? I know that you're saying there are no influencers shilling, but you need someone prolific like Elon Musk to talk about something like Tsuka in order to have it go up to an astronomical value, especially at a time where the market's exhausted. Let's be real, a lot of people lost money on Shiba. A lot of people lost money on Doge. Investors typically, not always, but learn from their mistakes. So, and I know I'm kind of asking a bunch of questions here, but I feel like you're very good at kind of bundling what I'm about to ask and giving me an answer. But what is going to cause a run up for Tsuka specifically when the market is so much more saturated with meme coins? And it's like 3 or 4 part question. Go for it.
The price appreciation. Because of the math behind it and the decentralized distribution of tokens, as the price begins to go up, because there's not any outside element that's going to allow dumping. So, just, okay, hypothetically speaking, you've got
people dump though, right? When people are in profits, yes, they're going to dump.
Of course. But the point is, a lot of times when you're in a token and what happens is, like, say during a bear market, you get a run up and all of a sudden there's all this volume and the price starts pumping. Oftentimes you'll see that the team sells into that, because what they're basically doing is they're saying, hey, we're going to have to raise capital. We're going to have to pay the employees. We're going to have to keep operations going. The only way to do that with a cryptocurrency is to either dilute the market, or your 1 in a billion cryptocurrency that somehow has some lender that's willing to give you money. I will bet that 99.9999999% of all cryptocurrencies do not have that outside lending source. I know this because, when I used to work in the stock market, I was working as a hedge fund, and it's like small cap companies cannot find funding. People will not fund a speculative business, a speculative company, so they have to find some other source of funding. And usually what they do is called equity financing. Equity financing is where, you link up with a hedge fund and you basically say, hey, I've got this supply of tokens that I'm going to give to you at a discount to market so that you could give us cash or equity, and then you could do what you want with those tokens. So sometimes the margin's 50%. So let's say a stock's trading at $1, they get those tokens at 50 cents. So their margins, basically, if they're selling, they're making 100%. But because they're selling, the price is usually going to go down. So that selling into the market obviously drives the price down. So the one thing I want to say about Doge is there's an unlimited supply cap. That to me is a kiss of death. I would never touch a token like that, because the reality of the situation, if this actually did play out, it could happen. Elon Musk could put his entire net worth into Dogecoin tomorrow, and then the next day, the price could be zero. And it's like, people don't understand why that is or how that could happen. If a guy puts $100 billion into something, and then out of the thin air, the developer decides to print $101 billion worth of new tokens and sell them into the market, all of that money that came in just got washed out. So that's the one thing with Doge that I'm not a big fan of. Do I think that's ever going to happen? No, but the supply number does go up. And as long as that supply number is going up, that's basically a new supply entering the market, which is preventing it from having its, the true growth that it should have. SHIB, on the other hand, what initially attracted SHIB was, the whole idea of it being very, similar to Doge. So, you were saying that Elon Musk was talking about SHIB. Elon never talked about SHIB, not to my knowledge. He only talked about Dogecoin, but the misconception was because he was talking about a Shiba Inu, the spelling of the token SHIB, people were directly correlating it to that. So there was a lot of people that didn't know anything about the market, and they're talking about Elon. They're saying he's talking about SHIB. He never talked about SHIB. Again, as far as I know, it was only Doge. But the misconception of people not understanding the difference between the two was where I saw was derived the value, because I like to try to think what other people are going to think before they think. And that was the number one reason that I bought into the token, was the element of, wait a second, Elon talks about Doge. This isn't Doge, it's SHIB, but Shiba Inu starts with the spelling of SHIB. And so when he actually made that tweet, I want to buy a Shiba Inu, it just took off from there. So the demand aspect is what I looked for. And so this is well before I even knew who Ryoshi was. So once SHIB started to take off, then all of a sudden you started hearing about this name, Ryoshi. And then it became Ryoshi is the man behind SHIB. Ryoshi became a legend that became synonymous with the biggest pump of any token of all time. So what happened with that token? They started going this different direction from decentralization to centralization. There were some shady things that were done. One thing that was done was when the team initially came out, they took 500 trillion of the supply and they sent it to Vitalik Buterin, but they told the community those tokens were burned. I had a big dispute with the team saying, listen, guys, you're telling people false information. Those tokens aren't burned. I go, they're just moved to a wallet that you probably think they're never going to be sold. So I said, burning something is like taking a dollar bill, lighting it on fire, turning it to dust. But if you take a dollar bill, fold it up a million times, stick it in a box, bury it in the woods, somebody could eventually find that. So it's not technically burned. So when Vitalik Buterin, out of the blue, decided to dump 50 trillion of his SHIB tokens and then donate that $1 billion to India, all of a sudden the SHIB team said, oh, wait, those tokens weren't burned. We gave them to VB and we're going to take credit for that. So not long after that is when things started to fall apart with SHIB, and then fast forward a while later, and then all of a sudden, Ryoshi's no longer with SHIB. I don't know what happened. I don't know where he went, but there was this new token that came to my attention called Tsuka. And apparently, Ryoshi was behind Tsuka. So I started doing a little research on it, and the whole story of Ryoshi to me is very believable. I am a major skeptic because I like to rely on absolutes. When I talk about absolutes, math. So it's like someone could say, hey, Ryoshi's behind this token. So that is what initially caused me to look at it on July 3rd. When I did my checklist, just like Uncle Nut was saying, he has like a checklist of 10 things. I have that same checklist. When I went through that checklist, Tsuka checked off every one of those boxes, which immediately caught my attention because I could go through 1,000 tokens and not one of those 1,000 will check off all those boxes. Tsuka did. So the strange thing to me was not only did this token check off all the boxes, but the story was that Ryoshi was behind it. And so I'm going, hang on a second. This token has those same catalysts that I looked for that I found in SHIB. And that was a good mathematical structure with an incredible catalyst that could drive the market. So what happened with Tsuka from May to August proved all I needed to know. It made the biggest pump the market saw in the year of 2022. How did it happen? It doesn't matter because it happened. I believe it happened because initially the story of Ryoshi got a lot of people's attention. It kind of brought them in. And then when I discovered it, the whole idea of Ryoshi was the catalyst that I was looking for, but it was missing the other element, which was the mathematical factor. When I saw the mathematical breakdown of this token, I basically said, whether or not Ryoshi is behind it, it doesn't matter because this is a complete outlier freak. But the crazy thing is, as much of a skeptic as I am, I really do believe that Ryoshi is behind it. And everything in this market moves on speculation. Perception is reality. No one has been able to disprove that Ryoshi is not behind this. There have been dozens of blockchain detectives that think they know everything. And they're, one of them said, I'm the developer. And I'm going, holy crap. You guys obviously don't know anything because I never in a million years could do anything like this. So this token has those catalysts that SHIB had. And that is an immense reason for demand, which is Ryoshi. But more important, even if Ryoshi's not behind it, it's the math. And like I say, the math. Now, let me explain the mathematical absolutes. When a team creates a token, they don't just take 100% of the supply and throw it all out there. They take a chunk that, is going to be for, future, building development. So they take that chunk, put it there. They take another chunk and they say 20% is going to be for the team. We're going to pay ourselves over the next couple of years, but those tokens won't become unlocked for another year, 2 years, whatever. So as it kind of breaks down, 50% of the supply is out there to the community. The other 50% is being held or locked down. So with Tsuka, every token right now is held by a retail individual. Everyone has skin in the game. Nobody was given tokens. If you're given tokens, you could sell them at leisure, whatever the price is, it doesn't matter because you'll always make profit. So the one thing about this token is our two biggest holders, Verlin and Tubba, purchased their tokens on the open market, and they actually have a higher dollar cost average than the current price right now. So those two guys have assumed literally millions of dollars in risk. And it's like, yes, they're the biggest holders, but compare the percentage of the top 10 holders, 20 holders, 50 holders, 100 holders of Tsuka to any other token in the market, and it is more decentralized. And I say that this is important because if you have one wallet that controls 20%, you cannot say that that token is a decentralized token because that 20% in that one wallet could absolutely destroy the entire token. So whether or not Ryoshi is actually behind this project, if you look at nothing more than the statistics and the math, on paper, this is a more decentralized token than any other token I've ever seen. And the most important thing is, the important thing with crypto is being decentralized. It's having the ability to send money, to and from one another without having this outside source. So all these projects that keep talking about how decentralized they are, but the team has a massive supply, and it's like, you can't call yourself a decentralized token if the math doesn't add up. So it's like there was a short period of time a few months ago where we had this liquidity pool set up, and in that liquidity pool, 25% of the supply was there. So we were kind of saying, hey, we're a token that's based off decentralization. But if anybody looked at that supply, a token breakdown, first thing I'd say is, wait a minute, no, it's not. You got 25% in the first wallet. It's not decentralized. So that element was removed, and now there are no other tokens in the market that I could find that have the same decentralized token distribution as this token. So, again, I realize it's difficult for it to make sense, but if the math is based off absolutes, the chart and the technical analysis becomes so much easier because it's so much more fluid. So it's like, I realize I'm rambling about things, but, Doge has an unlimited supply cap, which to me is a kiss of death. The SHIB supply number is massive. They're talking about pairing up with the World Economic Forum. World Economic Forum. It's like, that is the opposite of decentralization. That is one of the most centralized entities in the entire world, and this token SHIB is talking about pairing up with them. So it's like you could say one thing, but you're doing the other. Whereas with Tsuka, you could say whatever you want, but when you look at the actual numbers and the breakdown and the stats, it is what it says it is. It's a decentralized token that has no team. We are literally the first of its kind community-based meme coin. So it's like I'm calling this a meme coin 2.0. There's nothing like it. I've never seen anything like it. And it's like, I really don't think that people are going to grasp the potential it has until it actually breaks out. And I'm saying 15 cents. And then again, all these exchange listings coming. I don't know. So basically the catalyst for SHIB was that Doge connection. And with this, it's Ryoshi. because everyone knows Ryoshi. And whether or not Ryoshi is behind this or not, this is already proven capable to make an insane pump. So if it's done it once before, it could do it again. And that same analogy I've used a couple times, you know, baseball players, the biggest home run hitters that hit the ball 500 feet, 550. If there was a 17-year-old kid that hit a 700-foot home run, you know, he did it. So it's like, if he proved capable of doing something like that, there's no reason why he can't do it again when he gets bigger and stronger.
So really quick, and I misspoke earlier, right? The major catalyst in Sheep's rise was the conflation of Elon Musk's message, and I want to say for the sake of the argument, let's say that Ryoshi is the creator, and for the sake of the argument, let's say that the mathematics are superior to that of Doge, that of Shiba, and that of any other meme coin out there. With that said, because in my opinion, if it becomes an official, if Ryoshi was to officially come out as the owner, or rather creator, that would probably pump the token. However, Shiba's rise to fame wasn't because of Ryoshi. Shiba's rise to fame was a mixture of different variables that led to this catalyst, and it's still up there on the top 20. But I'm curious to know, and I'm not refuting it. I just want to understand better from the community members and from you, what is going to be. I know that 2024 is the year of the dragon. What is going to be that major catalyst that sends Tsuka into the stratosphere, as you guys are all hoping and even speculating that it will?
The price appreciation when it breaks
15
15 cents. So like I said, you know, you keep talking about SHIB. Go back and read my posts from February 2021. I talked about SHIB for 4 months before anybody even acknowledged it. So it's like, you know, you're talking about how you know SHIB and what caused SHIB to do what it did. But it's
No,
know.
I'm not saying, hold on. I'm not saying I know anything. I'm repeating back the information that you shared with me, and I'm asking you, what is going to be the catalyst? I'm curious. I'm genuinely curious.
If we can all
Are you guys okay? Are you guys okay if I address just a few matters, and obviously others can come after me? Dear host, how should I call you? What's your name?
Noah.
Noah. Okay. Oh yeah, you have two. Okay, you have two identities in the chat. Okay, Noah. Absolutely. So you know what? Paddy's absolutely right. One of the main catalysts that's obviously recognized as a catalyst by the market. Otherwise, you wouldn't have had hundreds of projects trying to pretend they were Ryoshis and using that as a as an argument to get massive PNDs, massive pump and dumps, and also obviously the crypto market as it exists now, and the crypto community as a whole already recognizes Ryoshi as something very, very important and very significant. So I fully understand, I fully get your point, and you're right that Shiba Inu's the rise of Shiba Inu was the result of circumstances, very specific circumstances at the time. You had the Doge run, you had Elon Musk mentioning Shiba Inus, so you're perfectly right about that. That being said, the rise of Shiba Inu put Ryoshi on the map, definitely did, and it also put Ryoshi on the map not only among hardcore crypto aficionados. Ryoshi is also a namesake for literally hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of people worldwide. You would be surprised to see how many Shiba Inu holders, even like total retail lay Shiba Inu holders, people who've never really played with crypto, who just like Shiba Inu holders, Shiba Inu community members, most of them know about Ryoshi, and most of them know more than just the name, which is, I was kind of surprised. I was surprised to actually see how many know about his character, some of the mystery, some of the lore that accompanied Ryoshi in Shiba Inu. So Ryoshi is definitely someone very, very significant, and the media also has noticed Ryoshi. Ryoshi's been mentioned in hundreds of thousands of articles. Well, if you go back to the time when he deleted his profile picture, if he deleted his posts and changed his profile picture and all, you had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of articles all over the world, and not just in crypto outlets, mentioning this specifically. Shiba Inu founder Ryoshi deletes his message. Just look how many matches you get in Google. So I beg to differ. Ryoshi's namesake, Ryoshi is definitely a catalyst already in many ways. And if you, there are a few other things that you said before that I'd like to clarify slightly. As I said, Tsuka didn't have any paid influencer, right? It's very important, paid shield or paid influencer, which is very important, this distinction. Obviously, we have some very influential people. I mean, Paddy, for example, is a very highly influential market analyst and influencer in his own right in crypto, and he's been with us since early on. He found us. He bought into Tsuka. He became a prominent member of the community, and he's been on board and producing content and really working in the trenches with us entirely on his own without getting a cent, right? He bought his bag, and he's, as some people would say, working for it, even though we have a much greater or higher view of what actually working for your bag actually means in Tsuka and the Sangha. So we do, and since Paddy, we've had dozens of crypto influencers or C2 influencers adopting Tsuka, buying Tsuka, holding Tsuka, and they actually it's kind of interesting because we've had many accounts. Some have hundreds of thousands of followers, some have tens of thousands of followers. Many of them are, if you look at quality, many of them I would say are in the higher tiers of respectability and relevance when it comes to influencers. So we're very lucky. We have some guys who are very good at TA, very good at FA, usually very serious guys, not the kind of guys who indulge in P&Ds and shield a new shitcoin every day or that kind of stuff. We don't really have that. So obviously we do have a lot of influential people with us, and every single day we have new ones getting on board. And one of the remarkable things is that they tend to stay with us, which is incredibly bullish. And then again, is very rare. If you look at the whole influence game on Twitter and crypto in general, it's very rotational. Everybody rotates. It's all about rotating, blah blah blah. And the people we have that actually support the project, they don't have that kind of discourse about Tsuka, even if sometimes they might have it about other assets. But many of them, they kind of instinctually or intellectually, they understood that Tsuka is kind of a different breed, pretty much, and they don't treat it the same way. So that's in many ways, I would say that's remarkable. And as you also said before, that as a matter of fact, and once again I understand where this comes from. You said if people are in profit, they will dump, which is, it's something we see in many projects, especially when you talk about shitcoins or meme coins. Most of them, like I would say solid 99%, they pump very quickly, dump very quickly, and go to die. They might have a few exit bounces down the line or whatever, but it's a very quick injection of holders and a very quick exit. Bag holders are left totally wrecked, and let's move on. That's pretty much how it works for most coins. And evidently, it's incredibly obvious, and it's proven, by just look at the chart, just look at the action. This has not happened in Tsuka. And this is not happening in Tsuka, which means you don't have people who are going to just dump Tsuka just because they're in profit. That's just not the kind of holders we have. As Paddy said, it's very remarkable. We have 2 of our 3 top holders are they're self-made millionaires. They're people who are extremely smart and successful in their own right, some of them entirely outside of crypto, and yet they have bought millions of tokens OTC and in the market at a price that's above current market price or around current market price. Then again, I have never ever seen anything like that in an early meme coin, in that kind of market cap, in that kind of market. If you guys have an example, by all means, show me. Okay, but I've been watching this market for a long time. I've never seen anything like that. When I saw these guys coming in and showing that they understood what was unique about Tsuka, it's not just about Ryoshi, it's many things. It's pretty much everything. They get the whole picture. And when I saw those guys coming in and starting to say, you know what, you've got some Tsuka, you're in profit, you want to sell 1 million Tsuka, 5 million Tsuka, I'm buying right now, transparently at market price. I've never seen anything like that. Then again, this kind of confidence is incredible. And those guys who bought those huge bags, they are not going to sell anytime soon. They're in for, I can tell, they're in for much more than a 10x, my friends. And when you see the actual involvement, work, efforts they do for Tsuka and how they involve their network, how they really they're doing everything they can to help the Sangha. This is unique, and then again, I've never seen that anywhere. It makes me incredibly confident. I know those tokens are as good as locked in the best diamond hands in the universe, my friend. And so I just described like two of the top 3 holders, but if you look at the holder number 3, he's quite famous in the low cap sphere. His name is Joe Grower 420, and believe it or not, even though he's insanely in profit, he hasn't sold a single token. Not a single token. Okay, so there is something, whether you want it or not, that makes Tsuka different. That's creates attitudes toward the asset that are different by the community. And one of the keys is the kind of people we attract, the kind of people we get. We don't want every PND holders. We don't want the usual crowd that just like very cynically gets in, hypes the stuff, dumps and exits. That's not how we win. And the entire lore, the entire narrative, the entire setup, and everything we've done as part of the Sangha is meant and is tailored to attract and retain the kind of holders we want. This is how we're building this kind of unique asset. So I have to say, this is not happening in Tsuka, and this will not happen in Tsuka. Just watch. You're not going to have those giant PMD and then go to die as you've had before. And obviously, I mean, just look at the last 8 months. It's incredibly clear. Just look at every other single shitcoin or meme coin launched during the same time. Look at their charts. It's incredibly clear. There is only one that looks like Tsuka, and nothing else even comes close. So there are reasons for that, and I hope we're going to have the opportunity during this talk to go a little bit in a little more into how Ryoshi shaped early community building. Yeah. Sorry, guys.
No, you're good, man. I mean, really, that's. I mean, for anyone that hasn't had like their abacus out and is able to follow Patty, because he really goes in depth with this stuff. This can be simplified into really easily taking the good things that led to the run that Shiba had, and us Tsuka maximizing those things as far as the distribution and how everything is circulated and the tokenomics, no tax, and also taking the negative aspects that we're weighing on all of these tokens that have proven that they can run, and us minimizing those things. So you want to ask really like, okay, well, if Tsuka has all these great things that Sheep has and all these other tokens, and it's also, and we assume that Ryoshi's involved, but then, you guys get rid of all the bad aspects in almost every way, what then would be the catalyst? Well, all that for starters would be just fine. Any of us know, the one thing we don't control is market conditions. As we're all surfers sitting on our boards waiting for the wave. Now, some of us started paddling early. Some of our, I'm a incurable optimist. So every time we get a little spike, the bull runs back. We're running, and it's about when the big tsunami comes, which surfers are best positioned, which board is best set up to take you on the wave, and all of those things are what's wildly important. And
I love it.
And Patty is somebody who has inspired me every day. I don't know if you guys know his story, but I mean, I'm sure you give him a little bit of time and he'll tell it, every bit of it, because he's the man. And by the way, Patty picks penny stocks. You missed that opportunity. I just want to let that out there. But I mean, realistically, this comes down and up until now, we've all assumed Ryoshi is involved. That is where, and I've said it before, the lore really transitions into our pedigree. And we have to remember that this is all going to be a game of perspective in this AMA, guys, because we all have the same information available to us. It's just what we don't know, the overarching view and the underlying fundamentals are what's important. And, the Shiba Inu was an experiment. It was a Ryoshi experiment in him being able to start with nothing and know if he can start from zero, from somebody with zero, and make something great. And Shiba, as we all know, did. I I mean, Pat, I think it pumped 960,000 times. Patty himself rode a part of that wave. A lot of you here are all of us are here to some extent because of what had happened with Shiba. And then again, we talk about, okay, so, what if Ryoshi's involved? Okay, so what if you have a company that grew from a penny stock that Pat picked all the way up to a multi-trillion-dollar organization? We are going to say that the person who founded it, who's been at the helm, has some type of knowledge that's in some way valuable. That's why, people, obviously the ground floor employee is going to be like, why does the CEO make a $20 million severance package? Well, you're there because of them to some extent, and we may disagree there, but this all started with Shiba. August 2020, which a lot of you may even been around, Shiba was launched with basic, pure intentions of there not being all of these problems in this space. And by May 30th, 2021, you guys, some of you might know that there was a Medium article put out, All Hail Shiba, that laid out Ryoshi's vision for Shiba. Up until that point, things were cranking with with everything in that community. And from now, May 30th, isn't really an important date until the facts that come next. And that's the thing that's important is 1 year to the day of the anniversary of All Hail Shiba. So now we're 1 year fast forward, May 30th, 2020. There was a public spat. There was a public spat where Ryoshi actually messaged on Twitter Shytoshi and the team from Shiba Inu and said, essentially, I'm going to paraphrase, this is not what we're here for. This is not going the way I wanted. This is not going the way we need. We need to come back to base. And for everyone, feel free to do your research. That seems to be the theme here. Welcome. Shytoshi responded that day, May 30th, 1 year to the day of when All Hail Shiba was all laid out. He responded to Ryoshi with something that started with, and I quote, "How comical," end quote. And there's more to it. Feel free to look. And that was the turning point. Not a lot of people knew. If you didn't know, you had no idea, but that was when the point turned and everything came to a head. And that response was the nail in the coffin. Why? Well, after that, you all will notice that May 30th, 2022, he deleted everything. All of the Shiba mediums are gone. They're gone if no one saved them. All of his social media gone. And but he didn't disappear before leaving everybody the one fact and clue that would lead them to the origins of what he wanted to build. And he changed his profile picture to a very simple individual known as the Milarepa. Now, who's Milarepa? Well, I can tell you because I'm involved in this shit up to the eyeballs. But Milarepa was nothing. No. Milarepa was nothing of importance in this conversation until you realize the one other simple fact that 4 days before this message to Satoshi and the team came out, 4 days before he messaged on Twitter to say that things were not going the way he wanted, 4 days before him changing his profile picture to the Milarepa, he launched a token that was stealth launched with a low supply, with the same type of liquidity that Shiba started with simple tokenomics, no tax on buy, no tax on sell, and 100% distributed tokens. That launched with the theme of none other than the Milarepa. And that's why we know that this is Shiba Experiment 2.0 with Tsuka, and he was able to not only bring only the most investigative, humble people that want to be in this space, but individuals who really could embody the values and ethos that he wanted to carry. And that is why we are all here. There's a million other breadcrumbs here, the million other things that paint the picture, but this is where our pedigree is going to set us on foot to catch the tsunami that is, I think, under all of our feet right now. So I'm glad to be here. My bags are packed. If you don't have any Tsuka, you did not miss the boat. How do you know? Well, we're giving away a large boat. There's a massive giveaway being done right now. Today, I believe, is the last day. So if you haven't moved your bodies over to our Telegram, you haven't taken the quiz, you haven't done any investigating, you're just as bad as half the people that end up with their bags being taken from them, because you can't rely in a space based on no human intermediary on human intermediaries. So if you'd like to know things for yourself and see things for yourself, feel free to come onto the Sangha. You can poke a hole in all the real blatant things we're all missing. And if you can't find them, you'll sit right next to me here, and we'll put on the robe. Nah, I'ma stay. All right, pow pow Tsuka.
Hey, Phil, that's awesome. Okay, I just want to drop in some things to complement from a little bit of a different perspective. Like Patty, I come from a technical analysis, background, and, FA background, fundamental analysis. And, those things are just irreplaceable when it comes to understanding what are potential catalysts to drive a token, right? You've got to go in and understand, what is the community about? What is driving the community? The community in itself is another catalyst. So, for example, and this is probably, unless you know technical analysis, this would sound very foreign to you, what I'm about to say. Technical analysis does not listen to news. It's completely redundant when it comes to news. It will track what happens when news comes out, but it doesn't predict news. It predicts market. What is going on in the market at that very second? So basically, with what Ryoshi has created, and we've said it in a million different ways, is perfect math. A smart contract for the ages. One that I believe will be copied as a template many times over. Patty calls it meme 2. I call it meme 3. I think we skipped a whole meme version. And why do I say that? Is because the tokenomics are so perfect. For all the reasons we said before, no VCs, no taxes, all of that stuff. Any project could adopt this token into their project and not have to worry about that token being crazy destabilized because of dumping of VCs, or because the project, for example, let's say Doge. Doge to me is nothing more than a US money printing machine, potentially. Why? Because it has an endless potential supply in the contract. At any time, the dev could basically say, boom, we're going to dump X amount of tokens on, and guess what happens to the price? Wah, wah. Okay. Ryoshi also, he recognized that the greed of individuals was the thing that he felt destroyed his vision on SHIB. And with all of those things taken into consideration, he created the perfect smart contract with perfect messaging. He's always there with us, whether it's Ryoshi or someone else, who cares? The messages are ongoing. You can track them. You can pick this up at any point in the timeline and go and investigate. For me, Web3 is all about transparency. It should be. It should all be about community. It should be all about a rising tide lifts all boats, meaning we all win. Not the devs, not the team, not the VCs. No, everyone. And how do we get there? We got there because it's fully distributed. You do not have to worry about dumping. Okay, Web3, meme 3, let's talk about this community. One of the things that just blew me away was, okay, if they've got no team, how are they going to get traction? How are they going to educate others to come on board? And then you see the immense amount of passion and work. People have taken their talents and absolutely poured their hearts into creating documentary videos, technical analysis, visions of why they believe this is a great token. This community has actually become I think we have the competition, which we're going to talk about just in a few minutes, but basically this competition is funded by individuals within our community. It's no, let's take oblique steal 10% of the supply to do marketing. Let's steal or put in our tokenomics 20% to pay ourselves. It's all of that stuff you don't have to worry about. None of it. Fixed supply of 1 billion tokens, and they're all out there. And yes, people that bought in at the beginning, I'm sure many of them have sold, and they've made an absolute fortune in some cases. Others, and I call this the changing the guard, others are now coming in and taking those during this last 3 months of consolidation. We've had distribution of the tokens. So we've gone from, let's say, 100 holders to 7,700 or 7,700 and something holders right now. So every time you go through a cycle and people think, well, I got my magic number, it distributes again. It's actually a great thing. The nucleus and the driver for me in the community is that you see things happening every day. And just like PR Russ said, it's exciting to get into that chat and see what is being created, see people creating NFTs, see people adding more prizes, see people investing their time and educating others on Tsuka. This is a community that I do not know exists in Web3 as we know it today. So that's all I wanted to say, and I'll pass over to somebody else.
Yeah, just very quickly, the current number of on-chain holders is over 8,700, so it's 1,000 more than you remembered. And considering those are on-chain holders, and we have a bunch of centralized exchanges, it's likely that we already have probably around 10,000 holders, maybe a little bit more. So that's our current holder numbers, pretty much.
Yeah, so looking at the initial run up, I mean, it from bottom to top looks like a clean 500x, and it would obviously make sense for people to take profits. People would be mad not to take profits anywhere between 1 to 500x. And even from the top, it's only down 50%. So I guess relative to its timeline, pretty resilient. Do you guys know what happened with the team finance exploit? Was that what partly caused the big, kind of the big dip that we see starting around mid-October?
Absolutely. Well, you just said it's resilient, so let me rephrase. It's by far the most resilient of all the tokens launched during the bear, during the last eight months. I mean, try to find something more resilient. And really, it's a serious challenge. Any of your listeners, yourself, anyone, just find something else. Just let's play the comparison game. I've been watching a lot of the action. I've seen nothing that comes close. So, and about the team finance exploit, what happened is you had, so as you know, team finance has been used as the locker of choice by many projects, especially low cap Ethereum projects for a long time, for at least since the mid 2021 or something. And it was supposed to be kind of industry standard, a secure locks, right? And so that's what happened. Ryoshi, the Tsuka dev, locked the tokens on Team Finance until 2028. And they were sitting there, everybody feeling comfy, yeah, the LP's locked, blah, blah, blah. And then one day I woke up and I saw most of our liquidity pulled out of the, most of our USDC liquidity just pulled just like that. And it was absolutely insane because it was not supposed to be possible, right? It's like those locks were supposed to be safe, secure. And so what we discovered later is that Team Finance had some kind of a bug in a migration contract, and you had a hacker actually found. I mean, some people actually had been discussing this flaw, this potential exploit for a while apparently, and the hacker decided to target a few coins. And you had Tsuka and a few other tokens got all their liquidity pulled out. And for a while we thought that okay, it's gone forever. The guy had taken for more than 2 million worth of USDC and Tsuka, $2 million worth. And obviously it was a big hit to us, because the USDC pool was our main pool, our main liquidity for trading, and it was really our main pair, kind of the front of shop pair. Fortunately, we were very lucky because due to some community members, we had alternative pools, liquidity pools with other pairs had been created, including one by one of our prominent community members who also has a liquidity management project startup. And so we had a solid pair that provided a backstop during this period. So obviously, yes, it was a big trigger. There was a wave of panic. A bunch of people dumped, exited their position, but as you can see, we fully survived. And what was, we were also very lucky that the hacker who did this was actually a white hat. So Ryoshi and the community were absolutely instrumental in negotiating with the white hat. So he returned pretty much the funds he had taken minus a small bounty, and he did it in a way that was very, how can I say, very elegant in many ways. And the contrast between the way he treated Tsuka and the other tokens that he had kind of rescued from the Team Finance bug is quite striking in my opinion, and one of the many things that keep showing me how unique and how very how much of an outlier Tsuka really is. So yeah, that's pretty much what happened. It was definitely a big blow, but it's not the only one. The Tsuka community has gone through several quasi-terminal or terminal events, or the kind of existential threats that pretty much kill every other token. We had a Telegram. Our early Telegram was taken over by a rogue admin who tried to sell it, started flooding Tsuka, using the main Twitter account to talk trash about the project and the community. And you had various other things, that happened, and the community just overcame everything literally with Ryoshi's help. So yeah, definitely.
Was it strictly LP tokens that were locked on Team Finance?
Absolutely, yeah. It was the Tsuka USDC V2 pair.
Why did they choose to go with Team Finance versus, let's say, Uniswap with a better track record? I do see that you guys have liquidity on Uniswap now, but I'm curious to know.
Uniswap doesn't lock anything, right? So it was the LP on Uniswap that was locked. The LP tokens were locked themselves. The other main lock provider is Unicrypt. And for some reason that I can't really explain myself, Unicrypt was kind of the big favorite in late 2020, early 2021. And somehow Team Finance came in favor during mid 2021. I always considered Unicrypt to be more safe. So I'm not entirely sure, but it was very industry standard. And it's consistent with the way Ryoshi has managed this launch, which is he's made a point of at the very very early launch stage to make sure that there was apparently nothing special about Tsuka during the early hours and the early days. It really looked like literally any other shitcoin, and it's very very slowly he started unveiling things, and that very slowly certain community members starting to get the message, and then started to tell the story around and attracting just the right kind of people. That's pretty much what happened. So he used the token contract he used was a very typical contract used at the time. He just negated all the functions so that it was a absolutely pure token, renounced the contract, locked the LP in Team Finance, which is absolutely the most standard way of doing things, pretty much.
Got it. I actually didn't know that. I didn't know you couldn't lock tokens on Uniswap, and you're saying it's unclear why they didn't go with Unicrypt is the one I had heard of. Why they didn't go with Unicrypt over Team Finance. But anyway,
yeah, my assumption is that for months already, most tokens had been using Team Finance for months and months. So I'm not really wondering why Ryoshi chose Team Finance. I think he chose Team Finance because that's what the entire space was doing. What I'm not sure of is why the entire space shifted to Team Finance, but that's besides the point anyway. It's behind us, We don't need them anymore. What Ryoshi did when he got the funds back, I mean, obviously our dev had, because he got the entire unlocked LP back, so he had $1 million worth of USDC and the equivalent in Tsuka. He could absolutely have rugged us. He could have pretty much kept the $1 million, dumped whatever Tsuka was left in other pools, drained them, whatever. And obviously he didn't do that. First thing he did was burning the LP tokens forever. So the liquidity can never be withdrawn. And he has been supporting pretty much everything the community has been doing ever since by, sending tokens from the deployer, supporting liquidity initiatives, supporting community funded campaigns and all that stuff. So he's definitely very active and very engaged with us.
Yeah, given that new piece of information, looking at how much TVL Unicrypt had versus how much TVL Team Finance had before the exploit, it wasn't Unicrypt didn't have that much more. So I can understand why. I can understand why it was one or the other. Looking at going back to the chart and hoping for eventually that I believe it was Patty that said 100 billion market cap. If Tsuka was to get to that level of notoriety, this prediction is in the middle of a full-fledged bull run, right? I mean, what do you expect Bitcoin and Ethereum to be at if Tsuka was to hit that sort of market cap?
I guess Paddy might want to answer that one.
Well, I mean, obviously, I think Bitcoin and Ethereum are going to make much higher highs than they did the previous market cycle, but it doesn't necessarily, mean will Bitcoin go higher? Will that, correlate directly to what Tsuka does? And the answer is no. So, if you want to break down numbers and statistics, look at the total return on investment that Dogecoin made, last market cycle, and then look at the total return on investment that SHIB made from, so when there's a post that I made that's floating around on Twitter where it's a screenshot from February 4th, and in the screenshot I mentioned specifically numbers, specific number of holders that Doge had, and at the time SHIB had 7,600 or 6,770 holders. That was when I made that tweet. So less than 10,000 holders, essentially the same number that Tsuka has right now. So it's like, anyone could argue the same question. How did I know that SHIB was going to do what it did? I didn't know that was going to happen. However, from the 20 plus years experience I have of, knowing what creates value in tokens, I was able to derive this idea that this had everything necessary to become something massive. And I just said, it's just going to be a matter of time before people notice it, acknowledge it, and recognize it. And yes, it did have that catalyst where, Elon talked about it. But as far as, what was?
No worries. I was just going to say, Patty, there's a better analogy here, and I'm sure or a better comparison, and that's to compare, the holders in SHIB, to, for example, if we get to 100,000 holders, which I have no doubt we will get to, if we can, that's basically going to be $2.26 and a market cap of 2.26 billion. That is 5% of SHIB's peak market cap in the last cycle. Get to SHIB's holder count, and we're talking about, right now we're talking about a price of around less than $30, around $30. But if we go exponentially and we sort of do the numbers that SHIB did in the last cycle, we could be talking $150 or 200. Sounds absolutely nutty to say it, but that's what the numbers say.
Yeah, it's the mathematical factor is huge. People look for value. If you have two different tokens, right? One of them is valued at $1 billion. One of them is valued at $1 million, but they are the identical token. Which one would you want to buy? Would you want to buy the one that's $1 million that could be worth $1 billion, or would you want to buy the one that's already $1 billion that's trading at, multiples higher than the other? So it's like, where's the value? Why would anyone buy a token that's got $1 billion market cap when they could buy the identical one that's got $1 million market cap? So it's like, if you just wait, eventually those two will come to parity. So that $1 million market cap could be the $1 billion market cap if they do the same thing. So it's like I make these comparisons. I try to put things into perspective for people to understand. So it's like, let's just take Doge, SHIB, and Tsuka. Line the three of them up. Let's look at all of them. Let's look at the numbers. Let's look at the stats. Basically, what I see Doge as is right now is a $10 billion token that is nothing more than a peer-to-peer network, but it's got 4 million holders and everyone in the world knows about it. Everyone in the world could buy it. With SHIB, kind of the same situation. It's about a 1.3 million holders. Market cap is a little bit smaller, but same idea, same thing. Does, the same thing essentially as Doge. And then I look at SHIB or Tsuka, and I basically say this little token does the same thing these bigger tokens do. So historically, from being in the market for 20 years, I have watched people basically do the same thing over and over and over and over, where it's like if you have two different tokens that do the same thing, but one of them trades at 1/100th the size, people will buy that smaller token. And because they start buying that smaller token, the price starts to actually move. And it moves a lot faster and a lot higher than that other token. So that's when people can take a step back and say, wait a second. Everyone's talking about this big token that's got $1 billion market cap when this little one with the $1 million market cap is doing the same thing, but I could buy it at 1/100th the price. Why would anyone in the world not want to do that? That's the thing. Fear. People don't know what they're doing. So when I say, there's this coin, this coin, this coin, and they look at the three of them, they go, well, Doge has a $10 billion market cap. Everyone in the world knows about Doge, so I'm comfortable buying Doge. And I go, great, buy it. Buy that token with the $10 billion market cap. If it makes just a 10x pump, you're at a $100 billion market cap. That's bigger than the previous market cap it ever made. So it's like, why would you want to do that when you know that there's these other tokens that are trading at 1/100th the price that could do the same thing? But it's like, does the rest of the world know that? No, because they're focused on the big tokens. So it's like you have to add that element of risk. And the risk is willing to say, does this token do what the bigger ones do? And it's like, will other people eventually see this? The biggest thing that I look forward to is exchange listings, because at some point, I've asked people a million times, hey, everybody, take a look at this token. First response, is it on Coinbase or is it on Binance? And 99.9% of the time it's no. So when I tell them no, they go, I'm not going to buy it. And I go, well, I think you're making a mistake, because if you are willing to spend an hour, figure out how to use Uniswap, buy this token, wait 2 years, you'll notice that this little token that I was talking about did the same thing about the big ones. But at the time, you couldn't buy it on these exchanges. So a lot of people don't want to take the time out of their day to figure out how they have to go about buying these tokens. But it's like literally getting in before these tokens list on the big exchanges is how you make that money. So, the way I see it is this little token does everything that the big tokens do, except it's got better, numbers, and the idea of Ryoshi potentially being behind it is the catalyst enough that is already proven capable of making it pump, 10,000x in the middle of bear market. So again, if it happened once, it could happen again. And it's the simple math that allows for the chart to become as fluid as it is. It's the threat, the fear of dumping, of being dumped on. Another analogy, a team has 90% of the token distribution allocated, right? So only 10% is left. So that means that 10% of the 100% of the supply is being held. So after 1 year, that 10% of the supply could be introduced into the market. The team might say, hey guys, after 1 year, we have this 10% allocation that we might or might not sell into the market. So if I was a holder of that token and, month 9, month 10 comes around, and all of a sudden we're getting close to month 12, I start thinking to myself, what happens if these guys decide to dump that 10%? It is going to decimate the price. So what am I going to do? I have already sold. I sold for the sole reason of that potential risk of those tokens being introduced into the market. That alone, they may or may not be sold. It doesn't matter, but it plays a major, major psychological role. So with the mathematical absolutes I mentioned a million times, we never have that threat with Tsuka. So what's the worst that can happen with Tsuka? We don't have to worry about people dumping on us. The worst possible thing is nothing happens and it just goes sideways and we wait. But we do know that with Bitcoin swinging up now, all those people that left the market over the last couple of years are going to start considering coming back into the market. And when they do, what are they going to be looking for? They're going to be looking for that token that made the biggest pump, or that type of token that made the biggest pump last market cycle. But it's like, if you bought into Dogecoin last market cycle, you would have done pretty well. But if you bought into SHIB, you would have done a lot better. So it's like, why not take that same philosophy, carry it over to this next market cycle? That particular token that was once a $50,000 token hit a $50 billion market cap. It has since pulled back to, wherever it is now, 5 billion. But it's still 10,000 times higher than where it was at the beginning of that last market cycle. So if history tends to repeat, why not do the same thing? And it's like Tsuka is the early SHIB. And there's no other token that I could find that could compare, because no other token has this organic beginning that this token did. And as Dustin has said many times, how many thousands of tokens came out emulating Tsuka? Why Tsuka? Because Tsuka was the best performer out of every other token in the market. So all these opportunists try to take their shitty token that they create, that they give themselves a ton of tokens, and they're going, okay, everybody, we're going to say that this is the next SHIB. So what happened, or the next Tsuka. So what happens is, you might have 10, 20 people that jump on board. They might even hire some marketers. And then all of a sudden you get 50, 100 people that are screaming, hey, this is the next Tsuka, next Tsuka. It's because it's got the word Tsuka in the name. So you've got a ton of people buying it, not realizing it's not Tsuka. It's some other token that was meant to copy what Tsuka did. Price pumped up. All those people that allocated tokens to themselves dumped into the market. Price then plummeted. Everyone that sold their original Tsuka to chase after these crap Tsukas lost half their bag. Then they end up buying back into the original Tsuka, but they have half as much. So it's like, we have seen this happen over the last 4 or 5 months. Every other token that wanted to come out being Tsuka has not been Tsuka. So it's like, look at the stats, look at the numbers. All these other companies have come and gone. They wanted to bite off what Tsuka was, but they couldn't do it. So it's like, if you have all these other tokens trying to do what Tsuka's doing, obviously it means Tsuka's did something that's pretty important. So again, wait a few months, wait 6 months, look back on the things that we were saying now, and I guarantee you, everybody that didn't pay attention, that didn't look at the numbers and the actual stats and just kind of heard, blah, 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 they're going to be kicking themselves. And, I just think that this token's special.
Patty, that's awesome. Just one more point, like utility value, right? People talk about, oh, what's the utility of a meme coin? If something is used by people, it has value. The more people that use equals the higher the value and liquidity. So just remember, SHIB was once the same token as Tsuka in the sense that it was trading daily numbers like Tsuka. It had the same amount of holders at one stage. And now SHIB, even after losing 90% of its market cap, is still doing $750 million in daily volume. Let that sink in. It's insanity.
So, I guess, Pat, you talked about, Patty, you made a lot of good points, and you guys have all echoed the fundamentals, the mathematics, the decentralization and distribution of tokens, relatively speaking. And I agree. If you are looking for a higher ROI, then you may as well find something with similar fundamentals in this case and try to be earlier in it, so you have a better chance at making more money. I think the disclaimer needs to be put out there that the worst thing that can happen isn't that it goes sideways. The worst thing that can happen is that you buy at 15 cents and it dumps to 3 cents and you are down a lot of money. So if you're planning on buying into anything, I would this is more for the audience. I would make sure it's money you're not willing, or money that you're willing to lose, and money that you're willing to just let sit there for a while. Otherwise, you could be looking at a pretty egregious drop, or not egregious, but a pretty aggressive drop.
That's the thing. You have a short-term mindset. You're talking about 15 cents, then it drops to 3. So for you, you see a decline in price. For me, I see an opportunity, because I could buy a shitload more at 3 cents than I can at 15 cents. Because when I was
average person that
I get it. It doesn't matter
like this with money that they can't afford to lose. It's a disclaimer that we typically put out on these broadcasts.
I understand. Okay, I get it. So yeah, so if you're a trader, and if you're looking to make a quick buck flipping tokens, then this may not be for you. And I would actually say, what the hell would anybody even be doing, wasting their time on a token that's trading, only a couple $1 million a day, as a trader? Why don't you trade something that has liquidity? So, you know, again, what you were saying about, you know, if somebody bought it at 15 cents and then it drops to 3, for them, you know, oh God, disaster. But, you know, why'd they buy at 15 cents? Probably because they were buying off nothing more than hype and FOMO. So that kind of shows they didn't know what they were doing. They were just chasing a token because everyone else was talking about it. So think about what you're saying right there. If that happened once before, what happens if that 15 cents breaks next time 6 months later? That same event is going to occur again. The price will start to move higher. People will start to pump it. The price will move up. And then before you know it, next time, it might be at $1.50 that they're buying it, and then it pulls back to 60 cents. But you still have a year before the market even comes close to peaking. So it's like, you know, one thing that just made no sense to me is when I first bought in, I was talking about the token. I bought it just over a half a penny. And I said, I believe this token can hit $50. That day, I said, I believe it can hit $50, which is a 1,000x from a half a penny. So eventually the price made a 30x pump within like the next 6 weeks, which is, you know, amazing for me to see in a bear market. And then it pulled back. So the volume really dropped off. So at 15 cents, you had a bunch of people willing to buy just because there was an immense amount of FOMO and the entire market was talking about it. However, when the price pulled back to 4 cents, what changed? Nothing. Nothing changed fundamentally other than the price. What do 95% of the people in the market look at? The price. They don't know anything about technical analysis, fundamental analysis, what gives something value. So if you're saying, you know, oh, at 15 cents, you know, somebody was buying in, but now it's at 4 cents and they're scared, that just shows they had no idea what they were doing. They don't know what value is. So it's like, for me, I see myself being able to buy 3 times as much of that asset for 1/3 the price instead of complaining, oh, it's down from where it was. So it's like, of course, yes, there's 2 different types of people, you know, but you're talking about in your disclaimer, you know, sounds like traders that kind of don't have any idea what they're talking about. And it's like, what value, what gain does anybody get from doing something like that? Nothing. They should learn how to do things the right way, where it's either you're a trader, you buy support, you sell resistance, and it's like, or you trade an asset that has enough liquidity to get in and out. But it's like, it just boggles my mind how someone might be, you know, screaming, yelling, this is a great thing. I bought it at 15 cents. Then all of a sudden, you know, a couple months later, it's at 4, and then they're complaining. And it's like, yo, what is the only thing that you're looking at? The price. So it's like, fundamentally, nothing has changed other than people who see value in that particular token could buy 3 times as much as the person who FOMO'd in, who didn't know what they were doing. So it's like, I could talk about this all day. And it's like, people, you know, may not understand what I'm talking about, but that's when I say ignorance is bliss. So for people that bought at 15 cents, that complained at 4 cents, you know, ignorance is bliss. I will happily take those tokens from you at 4 cents and sell them back to you at 15 cents. But it's like, that's not what I'm doing. I'm trying to accumulate as much as I can for as cheap as I can, because I know the mathematics alone with this and the incoming demand this market's showing, and the fact that this is already proven possible to make an insane pump, it's just going to be a matter of time before the community gets to that size that pushes us over the previous resistance, which will then lead to another breakout, which then leads to the FOMO, which then leads to people buying at $1.50, only for the price to possibly drop to 70 cents to have them complain. So it's like, to each his own. Everybody has their own approach, but it's like, if you want to look at something that has value, you want to buy as much as you can for as cheap as possible. So it's like, whether the price is 15 cents, 5 cents, $5, it doesn't matter. As long as you believe there's more value there, then whatever you can get it for, the lower the better. So it's just, there's a lot of inexperience in the market, and that's the problem. Fear, inexperience. 99% of people in this market have almost no idea what they're doing. They just follow what others do. So that's why I'm saying this is the type of token that gets the kind of hype that will have everyone in the market talking about it. And it's fun. Dragons, 2024, year of the dragon, again, sounds stupid, but it plays a psychological role, because in the year 2024, we're going to see dragons everywhere. So if everywhere we're seeing dragons and people are talking dragon tokens, and Vitalik Buterin's talking dragons, and Elon Musk got dragon rockets and all this dragon, nobody's going to give a shit about Dogecoin or dog coins. It's like the whole mentality is going to shift. And it's like, if people don't see that psychological element based on the math alone, you're missing the boat. And it's like, I feel bad for people because I've had so many people tell me, "Ooh, why were you buying SHIB? Why were you buying SHIB?" And I explained to him. And even that guy, David G, I told him about SHIB when it was trading at 9 zeros and he didn't look at it. And then he made a post, a couple months ago saying, "Oh, I wish I knew that SHIB was going to," and I'm like, dude, check your inbox because I have the freaking post. I could screenshot it and post it in here, but it's like, I'm not going to do that. But then again, he didn't see the opportunity. And it's like, maybe I got lucky, maybe I didn't. But I'll tell you what, for me, being the only one in the entire market for like literally 3 or 4 months, pounding the walls, pounding the table, saying, "Look at this token. This is going to be a monster." Nobody believed me until it happened. So it's like, if Tsuka follows what SHIB does and it, goes to a $50 billion market cap, I could say that I was the only person in the world that said that I called SHIB early on and Tsuka early on. How did I do it? How would I know? I don't know. But if it plays out, I'll be able to say I had a pretty damn good idea.
So unrefutable that you guys have, that there are catalysts there. And we've discussed several of them through the course of the broadcast. Year of the Dragon, huge. Can't deny that. The disclaimer, so you made a great point. 99% of people in this market don't know what they're doing. And disclaimer, as you said, folks that bought at 15 cents were buying on hype and FOMO. And the disclaimer is that energy is encapsulated in this space with people who are smart, great speakers like yourselves. And whether you agree or not, there is hype and FOMO being, whether it's your intention or not, there is hype and FOMO being echoed in this space. I know that the underlying message is fundamentals, and the underlying message is, hey, don't worry about the price right now, because when it's 100x from where it is, this is assuming, based on what you guys are assuming, that it goes to 100x from where it is right now, you're not going to care if you bought at 7 cents or 15 cents. I understand that. But the disclaimer is strictly to warn people that these go through crazy swings. And if you're wanting to take a punt, then it's good to have a long-term mindset. So I think we agree. I just wanted to put that out there. And I wanted to talk a bit about the lore. You guys have pretty cool lore. It revolves around meditation, being centered, being the best version of yourself. Can you tell us a bit more about the theme and the culture around your community?
PR, you wanna touch to this? Is PR here? Oh, he's gone. Wow. Okay. Can you hear me, guys?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah,
I hear you loud and
yep,
clear.
live and direct.
Yeah. Well, usually I would let PR touch upon this, but I think he had to go. So yes, you're absolutely right. There is this very strong meditation element. So this was inspired both by one of Ryoshi's very early messages on the overall Milarepa connection. So when it comes to meditation, it's pretty simple. Meditation is a very, very ancient practice. It's been found in pretty much every culture. On Earth, different cultures have different forms of meditation, different forms of I don't know how you say that in English. Ascetic movements and things like that. By now, in the early 21st century, meditation is pretty much admitted by every scientist, every doctor, every major research institute to be a major contributor to mental health, to human health, to wellness. It's pretty much admitted even by the most hardcore rationalists of all. So it's not like, I think most of us understand that meditation is not a gimmick. It's not for hippies. It actually works. It actually activates and deactivates certain areas of the brain, and it helps you grow. It helps you become more at peace with yourself. It helps you gain focus. So it's an incredibly valuable thing. And you still have many people who've never embraced it or never really tried it, never really touched to it. So the fact that meditation is one of the main elements of the Tsuka lore is very meaningful, especially in this space, because you actually have a very strong core of serious practitioners of meditation in the Sangha, which is something, very unusual. I've never seen that in crypto before. And we actually have like a group of people who know this very well, who are very well connected with some very famous or very high-ranking people, for example, in yogi, Buddhist monks, or people who are top experts in meditation and who have been like started to involve those people in the Sangha. So you've got, it's done in a very easy way, very inviting way. We help, and I'm not an authority on meditation, right? So I defer to some of our members, like we've got Cryptonaut, obviously, who's with us, who's been leading meditation sessions, absolutely amazing meditation sessions. So he can talk about this in detail. But the meditation aspect, this market is absolutely chaotic, especially in the bear market. Many people are totally distraught and have so many people have pretty much lost faith in crypto, in the power of community, because they've seen crypto tokens, they've seen community being abused and used for pump and dumps, for deception, for games where a few insiders pretty much trick the naive, and so Tsuka is offering something totally different from that. And the fact that we are using meditation both as a personal practice and a collective practice definitely helps our members embrace the long-term vision behind Tsuka and the process, because we are building in the bear market. So this is not, if you look at Doge and Shiba, most of their moves, I mean, especially Shiba, obviously, but most of their moves have been bull market things. They haven't been, the dog coins haven't really been like bear market performers, and for a while they were not even a thing. So Tsuka is very, very different. It rose during the bear. It's building its core community during the bear. It is a community-first token. So based on Ryoshi's principle and his original ethos, we are aiming at developing and growing the community first. This comes before we start projecting about utility, and we start talking about what ecosystem will spring from the community. First, we build an unstoppable community, and this process has been working tremendously well. Our growth is incredibly healthy. We keep growing absolutely constantly, which then again, unlike any other project. You look at all the other meme coins, shit coins, supposed community tokens, right? Just look at their metrics. You've got a very strong, very quick influx of holders and members. They stay for a few days. It's a gigapump, and then it dumps massively. People just move on. They leave the channels. They and the remaining holders pretty much in these projects are people who it's not even worth selling whatever is left of their bag because of gas prices in some instances. So they're just like, they're going to be holders forever, but it's dust in their wallet. With Tsuka, we're doing something very, very different. We're using our core community to grow the community at large, and we keep adding valuable members. It's absolutely amazing. I'm delighted these days because every single day we have new people coming in and they make a splash, and I see and I know they're going to be with us. So our retention, for example, both in terms of OGs and in terms of new members, is absolutely top of the entire space. There is nothing coming close, and this is another very, very bullish. Very, very bullish indicator. So yeah, right now we are building this community, and that's one of the reasons, combined with the mathematical certainty of the mathematical aspects of Tsuka, that make it such a powerful and compelling proposition right now, is that this community growth is happening. It keeps happening. So we know that it's a slow grinding process, and we are embracing it. As we like to say, we do it one soul at a time, and then 10 souls at a time, and then 100, and then 1,000. And we know very well that we're going to keep growing. We're going to reach critical mass sometime during 2023. We know we're going to get attention from the mainstream media again pretty damn soon, as we got last year. And we know that we're going to have times pretty soon where we're going to have absolutely massive influxes of new members. We're going to have times when we got 10K new members in a week, something that dwarfs even our current membership. So our growth philosophy is based entirely on network growth and community growth, and we see it working, and we know that it's exponential by nature in many ways. So the meditation, the ethos, the fact that we're building an ethical community, that we have been denouncing a lot of the schemes and the manipulative stuff happening in DeFi space, and that many of us have are nurturing a deep thinking and deep reflection about what makes the crypto valuable, what makes DeFi worth mending, worth repairing, pretty much. All of this plays a very, very big role. And I can tell you, the only way you will know is by coming in the community, interacting with us, talk with us, and you will see what I'm talking about. You've got good people. You've got very well-informed people. I mean, I've met in this meme coin, I've met more big DeFi brains that I've ever met in any big DeFi project. It's very simple. I mean, we've got some people in there who have such a granular, deep understanding of DeFi, of protocols, of pretty much everything that makes crypto. At a technical, when it comes to economics, when it comes to utility, fundamental, we've got these people. They are part of the absolute core of the Sangha. We've got some absolute top NFT chads in there, which is something that, then again, no other altcoin can boast of. Nobody has this. I mean, you look at, it's pretty much, you have some kind of, it's totally siloed, right? It's very rare to see a significant amount of blue chip NFT, or really people who are really focused on NFTs, embrace an altcoin, understand its meta, its narrative, why its story is so powerful, why its image and the brand is so powerful, and bring actually their community building expertise and mix it with what we're already doing, which is incredibly powerful. So yeah, I'd like to let Cryptonut talk a little bit more about what we do with meditation and how it's relevant to nurturing the right positive kinds of attitudes, peace and long-term vision together.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think that, as you say, meditation is as old as the ages. And I can only speak from my own personal experience, but I've been meditating since I was a young man, actually, and had no idea that I was actually meditating at that time. I used to go into a quiet space and in my room, and my parents actually thought there was something actually wrong with me. They thought, why is this guy so distant? Goes off into his room and then sits down and just basically doesn't talk and listens. But the incredible thing is that as time went on, I realized, through reading and so forth, that what I was doing was actually meditation, and the amazing insights that one can gain from the universe and everything around us. And it just seems like it's synchronicity. It's like just magic happening. The more that I went into meditation, I traveled all over the world, firstly learning meditation from experts and then actually leading my own meditations. The one thing that is just incredible is that the deeper you go within yourself when you're meditating, the more beautiful the outside, when you become totally conscious again in this physical realm, is even better. And that was the drug, or it was basically the thing that drove me back to meditation, to do it every single day, was that I felt that every time I did that 20 minutes or an hour or whatever it may be, I would open my eyes, and then all of a sudden magic would happen. Like someone that you were thinking about would call, someone would present something to you, an opportunity, or you would read about something which would link to something else. So that stillness and that ability to really focus and get clarity on where you should be going in your life, I mean, it's incredible. Helping people to be strong when they're fighting, negativity or diseases, dis-ease and so forth, is just amazing. So yeah, for me, meditation is a pillow of my life. It's where I gain my strength from. It's where I find beauty. It's like somebody once told me that beauty is amazing. It's like, when you look at a flower, you appreciate that flower, but people go and pick that flower, and then of course the flower dies. So beauty and meditation are the same things to me. It's like you're fixing up the inside of your soul, going back thousands and thousands of years or lifetimes, and you're also affecting all those people around you in a positive way as well. So yeah, it's very beautiful. And I think Tsuka, I'm looking forward to hosting some meditations with the community. Anybody that's interested, I will definitely give my time with much honor to share meditation and to share some simple techniques that anybody can do. and it doesn't take long before you start getting hooked on it. So yeah, I hope that helps explain a little bit.
Yeah, it certainly does help, and I can get behind the ethos of your culture, and I know a lot of people are hoping this hits 100 billion market cap and beyond. Curious to know, and I know that currently you guys are more focused on building out the community, but curious to know what some real world utilities you see Tsuka being used for.
Well, Ryoshi sent a blockchain message in which he said that Tsuka will save DeFi. So I understand this can be seen as some kind of grandiloquent, grandiose statement. If you're an outsider coming in, I can understand you might shrug, and have a smile, whatever. We are actually taking this very seriously. So what does saving DeFi means? What does it actually mean? So maybe I wouldn't use the verb save myself. Maybe I would use like reform, fix, reinvent, rethink, or something like that. But I mean, Ryoshi chose that term, and considering the way he speaks, it makes perfect sense. And yeah, I mean, do you admit? Who among us admits that there are deep fundamental issues with the way DeFi has been structured, and that those issues are behind some of the abuse, some of the very counterproductive things we've seen in DeFi over the last year and a half or 2 years, including the farm and dump and many other things. Some kind of VC DeFi when you have supposed DeFi protocols, but most of the governance and most of the tokens are owned by VCs, not by the community. I mean, there have been many issues, right? So my answer, and it's my opinion, right? I'm not talking for everyone, but my opinion is that our focus in the near future, and as we keep growing, as we keep reaching a critical mass of thinkers and builders within the community, is that a lot of our reflection will be around this key issue of okay, how do you enable the creation of a purer, fairer form of DeFi that actually serves the goals that it's supposed to serve in the first place? That would be my answer, my short answer to that.
I think one of the things, and hey, I'm all the way away, by the way. Someone told me to jump on the spaces, so I decided to come on. I'm a community member, just like everybody else up here. When I think about this technology and like all it has to offer, right? I see Ethereum as almost like the economic bedrock of all of crypto, right? And we have two almost competing kind of visions for the world. Like we have this like CBDC world where we have all these like liquid fiat currencies that can trade off each other without an intermediary other than, these central bank governments. But then we have this other vision where, we have this decentralized ledger that everything's built on top of. And that's Ethereum. And then on top of Ethereum, right? Because Ethereum's it's the security for the whole thing. It's going to be proof of stake. Like Ethereum's going to become scarce. It's already becoming scarce, and it's deflationary. But like on top of that, we're going to have other things that we're going to be able to transact with, right? And for that to happen, we need like if you think about fiat currency, right? Fiat currency works because people, they believe in it, right? Because they believe that the federal government will pay its own debts. Will pay its debts in the same fiat currency, and this is like very circular logic, but it works, right? Like we believe that the US dollar has value, and we like through the threat of force we'll use it. Well, so we have this like other competing vision that I kind of see of where you have these meme coins, you have these coins or even just regular coins, like regular governance tokens, that have they have strong communities behind them, and that they're able to gather a lot of liquidity relatively quickly. And some of these communities, like especially if you think about SHIB, right? Like SHIB has an intense community that has a ton of belief and it has a ton of believers, and it's gotten more and more liquid. And so like one day, right, we want to kind of like cast off the oppressive system of some of these, that's kind of put on us with these different fiat currencies. We need to have our own money. And the things that seem to be what people like believe in and that go viral enough to gather up a community enough to where something could be potentially used as money are things like meme coins. It sounds crazy, but that is what has brought normies and people who aren't crypto natives into the crypto world. And so that's what I see the promise of memes. I look at memes and I see them as like tools, but like potentially tools of freedom, to be able to gather people together. And they don't have to be jokes either. They don't have to be dog themed. I mean, like we're talking about like this one that's like dragon themed, and we're talking about meditations and all these crazy things. And it's like kind of taken on almost like kind of culty in a way, but people believe in it. And so like, why not something like that? Why couldn't that become money someday? So that's kind of like when we're talking about like the community growth and stuff like that. It's like the utility of something can just be money. So like one thing that we're trying to do is work with like different services, and we can one day have Tsuka accepted as a form of payment. So I know there's a credit card that takes it right now, but I want to see more of that. Like I want to see these meme tokens become actual money and actually, compete, like put up a competing vision to this scary world of CBDCs that we are hurtling towards fast. I mean, they are coming, and they're going to be coming probably within the next decade. And to me, like I don't want my kids to grow up in that world. So that is just kind of one thing that I see as a potential for meme coins, but specifically Tsuka, because I mean Tsuka just went. The last time I've seen a coin do what Tsuka did in a bear market was with Chainlink, and I mean Chainlink went crazy in 2019. It had a bull run of its own, and people coped and were like really angry about it. But the community was nuts. The thing that ended up being the downfall of Chainlink was, the fact that there was a team that had, millions and millions of tokens to dump on everybody. And, with Tsuka, that's not possible.
I agree with all the way. I agree with a lot of what you said with respect to microeconomies popping up and different tokens being a form of payment within those microeconomies, and then those silos connecting to one another because we live in a globalized world. It's something that you actually are currently seeing with. Someone mentioned Ant shares at the beginning of this space, which is now Neo. But I've read about how Neo is like a form of payment in these microeconomies throughout Asia, and I can certainly see that happening with other crypto assets. I don't think it's fair to draw the analogy or draw the comparison. Well, I guess the only thing you can compare is like the price. But Chainlink is an oracle that's used. It's used across the industry, and it's still used today. So I think that it's a bit different. You're comparing apples to oranges. But anyway, I also am curious to know how people can get involved in your community, because again, I can really get behind the ethos of your community. And I think Crypto Nut, that's awesome that you've been meditating for that long. I've been on and off with meditating, and I can say from my own anecdotal experience, I speak better when I'm meditating. I think better. I don't get irritated as often. I mean, I really do see positive improvements in my life. So 2 questions. 1, how can people get involved with your community today? And then 2, this is directed at Crypto Nut. What are some of your favorite ways to meditate, and what are some of the ways that you advise others to meditate on their own?
Okay.
I'll quickly answer just the first one, if you're okay, Cryptonauts. I'll use this as an opportunity to plug the giveaway, because we have a huge community giveaway on the way. So it's funded by community members. It's got absolutely insane prizes, and maybe I'm not going to go into details. So all you guys can check. It's in the pinned post on the official Tsuka Twitter account. All you guys need to know is that you've got about another 10 hours before it ends. So it's almost done. It's the last day, only 10 more hours. It should finish at 11:59 p.m. EST. So it's a quiz-based giveaway. So it's designed to encourage people who have never had the opportunity to look into Tsuka to do a little bit of research, take a look at the journal, watch the documentary, come and interact with us in the Telegram, ask questions, get community members to help, so you can get the best possible score and you get the best chance of being drawn. So you've got right now the total value of the prizes must be around $60,000 or $70,000 or something, which is remarkable considering everything has been given by community members. So I strongly encourage all of you guys who are listening to this AMA to come and partake in the giveaway. Don't wait, because it's going to be over in 10 hours. And there's an extra prize for 555 Tsuka prizes for especially for people who partake in this AMA. All you need to do to qualify and have a chance to win one of those 4 prizes is to post a comment under the pinned tweet in the Tsuka official giveaway post and say, I come from the Whale Coin Talk AMA. That's it. And 4 of you guys will be drawn and you will get our little prize. So that was for the giveaway. When it comes to how can you contribute to the community? Well, it's very, very simple right now. There are no closed structures per se. So pretty much everyone is welcome to come and contribute the better of their skills, the best of their skills, the best of their time. Whatever they excel at, whatever they want to give, we are taking it all. We are onboarding everyone. And right now we have a very, very active core community that's been getting involved in all kinds of aspects, and that's been instrumental in nurturing and fostering all this growth. So very simple answer to that. You want to engage in with the Senga. First, take a look. As you said before, this is not a token for everyone. Come, I mean, it's actually for everyone, but maybe not for the really short-term minded. If all you want is a quick pump, maybe at some point you're gonna get some insane pumps in Tsuka as we had before. But you know what? Maybe just go for the P&D stuff, right? But if you actually want to build something of value in this space, if you want to join the community that's dominated the entire space when it comes to retention, when it comes to community engagement in social media, by far, for months and months and months, we've trended at the absolute top of the Lunar Crush chart, social engagement charts, way above communities that absolutely dwarf us on paper, right? So if you want to join the most active community, if you want to help in building the most powerful next gen crypto culture and use memetics to spread it like wildfire, come with us. If you will learn and you will work with us, and together we will build something absolutely unstoppable that nobody else is even attempting right now. So that would be my answer, and I'll let Cryptonaut answer the questions about the meditation.
Thanks, Dustin. And great question, Noah. But I'm super excited right now to actually share something really simple with the community and everyone here. And that is a way to adopt in a very simple way meditation to your life using what I call 747. And 747, easy to remember. Basically, it's 7 seconds in. So you close your eyes, get somewhere comfortable. You can be lying down. You could be sitting in a chair. Just make sure you've got no kids around. If you've got kids, make sure that it's a really quiet place. Lights out generally is the way forward. And or you could be in nature as well. But basically, 7 seconds breathing in. So you hold for 4 seconds. And then you exhale for 7 seconds. When you're just starting, do that for as long as comfortable. And as you get better, you'll find yourself what the things that you're going to experience is when you first start doing it, you're going to be tackling what we call the monkey mind. And that's where your mind's racing. It's trying to pull you over here. What the wife said, what the girlfriend said, what the boyfriend said, what your kids said. It's like all these thoughts are going to be coming in. And basically what you've got to do is become the watcher. And that means without trying, and it sounds easy or it sounds hard depending on your perspective, but you generally just watch those thoughts come in, you don't interact with them, and you watch them go out. And the more and more you do the 747, the more and more cycles you do, you will find that that monkey mind actually slows down, that you hardly have any thoughts coming in. And that's where the magic happens. And that's what we call the gaps. So when you get the gaps, that's when you get these incredible, magical visions and moments and sensations and all sorts of crazy good stuff. But the absolute magic is actually when you open your eyes again, and that could be 15 minutes later, it could be 5 minutes later, the longer the better, obviously. And that's when amazing insights happen, amazing intuition happens, and you keep building that. So 747, 7 seconds in, hold the breath for 4 seconds, and then slowly release over 7 seconds, and just keep rinse and repeat. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, I think that's very helpful. And if there's one thing people take away from this space, it would be to meditate. It'll make your life a lot better. It's improved my life, and obviously, crypto nut has been doing it for a long time. 747 is one that I've done before. There's also a Navy SEAL breathing technique that I don't want to explain because I don't want to butcher it, but you can probably Google it and find out. But that really helps lowering cortisol levels. Anyway, I want to get some community questions because I've hogged the mic. And first of all, I want to thank the Tsuka community for coming on here and talking about the ecosystem, talking about the contracts, talking about the evidence of Ryoshi being the creator, and then giving a lot of different examples of catalysts that would lead Tsuka to being the next big meme coin and even potentially overtaking Doge and Shiba. I just want to iterate that nothing on this broadcast should be taken as financial advice, right? Just be really careful out there. Only invest what you're willing to lose. And when it comes to stuff like this in a bear market, if you're, as Patty said earlier, if you're looking for a quick flip, this is I don't know if you should be trading this, but more so buy and hold. I'm not saying buy. I'm just saying that if that's your point of departure, then maybe it's a better strategy. But I'm not a financial advisor. Anyway, with all that said, D-Arts, you have your hand up, and then I'm going to go to Captain Levi, Aisha, and whoever else wants to ask a question.
Hi, how are you going? How are you? Yeah,
Great,
that was
doing good. Thanks for asking.
We can hear you, bro. We can hear you.
good, Crypto Nut. That was right on point. I love the 747. That was really good. What I've been doing the last 2 years is Insight Timer, and I'm known there as the Emoji King. They call me the Emoji King, so that gave me a bit of creds. So what I did is I put use the emoji to make a little meditation, and I went back to Sri Yantras, are an old meditation where you look, when you get up in the morning, you look at a wall, and it's quite hypnotic. Sri Yantras are these sort of illusion things that I think the Indians mainly use them. But anyway, I put those images and I put a manifestation like you can manifest anything you want, just positive affirmations. And as I said, they ended up calling me the Emoji King. So I've come over here and I've now got an emoji arcade, which has like 50 collections, about 35 done. We've got 5 collabs. So what we do, we collab with, I'm accelerating emotional intelligence worldwide, and we use the emoji arcade for that. We've got 50 collections, which have emojis, and 60 happy, 60 sad. So it brings people in worldwide. It's sharing the community initiative. And I do have a dragon. I'd love to offer the opportunity for free for you guys. If you like 120 set of emoji for your Discord for free, I can do that for you, and you'll get the benefit of a free book which you can hand to community. And I suggest the dragon, besides being fire and water, we need to drink water to chill. I do anyway. I drink too much coffee. That's why I talk 100 miles an hour sometimes. Anyway, learning to breathe is the mastering life, and that meditation stuff you said is right on point. And they've got 20 million people over there doing it, so I intend to spread some messages there and bring them around when the time's right. However, meditation's key, and I need to shut up and learn to breathe more, longer and slower. Send out some love vibes. Anyway, I'd love to do a collab, have a chat with Whale, whoever's in charge there, and Crypto Nut. You keep cracking those nuts, mate, because that 747 is right on point.
Yeah, thanks for coming on and sharing. And Captain Levi, you're next, sir. Aisha, go for it. Well, maybe Captain Levi's having some issues with his connection. Quiet crowd today.
All right. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry about that. I was having some slight connection problems. I just want to give a shout out to the Tsuka team. I can see a lot of dragon emojis on a lot of usernames. Some really really wonderful communities. I did enjoy the session. Learned quite a lot, about the background of how a lot of things here happen. I just want to direct my first question, to a statement that caught my attention. From what you guys actually said, the truth of the matter is that what Satoshi Nakamoto thought of Bitcoin, um, based on what centralized organizations bring it to, is that at some point anyone's loyalty can be bought, and when it comes to meme coins, loyalty is a strong factor because the community stays loyal. The community that stays loyal, rather, is the meme coin that is going to thrive and survive. You already made mention of on making things that will probably keep this your community and loyal to the project and the coin itself. But what other incentives are you going through to make sure that this loyalty isn't just loyalty by word of mouth or loyalty based on an expectation of good happenings that's going to come, but the community are loyal because they are loyal and want to see the success of the project itself? What steps are you, taking to, ensure that you're actually sure that those who follow you are actually loyal to you and will not just jump ship as soon as they see a better offer?
So if I can give a very quick answer, and I let others talk because I'm sure everyone has something to say about that. But the most simple way to get your answer is to come in the chat, talk with us, stay a few days, and just look, just watch, talk with people, and you will see. I'm myself, I'm amazed because I've seen so many people. I can't count them, it's hundreds. So many people that can be, sometimes it's people we see every day who are super active, participate every day, engage with the community. Other times it's people that have been there for a while. They barely ever talk, but then one day they just talk and they drop some absolute nugget of a gem in the chat, and you realize that they absolutely on board. They understand everything we've been doing, and they're saying it in their own words in an absolutely unique way that's totally consistent with what we are doing. So the only real answer I can tell you is that Tsuka, the way it's being built, the way the core community has been funded, and each and every single component of the entire lore, of the entire culture created there, tends to create loyal holders and loyal members. That's just the way it is, and those people get it in a very deep way. So yeah, it's just happening, and I think the culture is responsible for it. It's just a good culture. It's the culture people can believe in, and they do believe in. And I think there are so few assets in the market today that people actually believe in. They just pretend to believe in them for 2 days, and then they move on. That's not happening in Tsuka at all. We are building something that's meant to last. And as all the way said, meme coins, what you call meme coins or community tokens, are, if you really think about it, are the only kind of asset that can compete with CBDCs and central bank money. It's the only credible alternative. And Elon Musk knows it. That's why he painted Dogecoin as pretty much the kind of asset that's fit for to be the people's money. The WEF understands it. They've approached Shiba Inu. Christine Lagarde and the ECB understand it. Pretty much everybody who's really been looking now understands it. You could be forgiven for not, as I was, for not getting SHIB or getting the power. What this kind of asset could actually do in 2021. But now I think excuses are, you don't have too many excuses. You just need to look at what's happening, try to understand, and try to get it. And yeah, I mean, it's just a fact. It's an incredibly powerful thing. It so happens that I think that dog coins And as always said again, they don't have to be jokes. Memes are something much more powerful. Memes are pretty much the vector that with which culture has spread over ages. That's how religion spread. That's how languages evolved and were born. That's pretty much the driver of every single meaningful historical process has been based on memetics, on mimicry, pretty much. And you've got so many things that work along those lines. So it only makes sense. You just look at memes. For a very long time, historians have studied the way ideas and culture travels, and it was over decades or hundreds or centuries. Now culture is traveling at the speed of light. With memes, you can take the entire world by storm within days. It's something absolutely incredible, and it's never happened before. It's being enabled now, and the world is becoming aware that this phenomenon, when you combine it with personal finance and with money, with the idea of community and money, and as we've seen meme coins, Doge, Shiba, we've seen the meme stock also kind of can have a proof of concept of the collective power of anons in the markets, pretty much. So now, this thing is like, it's absolutely luminous. I mean, what else actually can stand against CBDCs and central bank pretty much a dictatorship or monetary warfare against the people? It's not going to be gas tokens. It's not going to be governance tokens. It's not going to be utility tokens. And dog coins, in my opinion, are not fit for purpose for the years that are coming in front of us. And I think a token like Tsuka has the absolute perfect culture, from the mascot itself, the powerful dragon that's both a symbol of wisdom, longevity, protection, and also incredibly fierce. It's a conqueror, right? So it's got everything. It's a full spectrum thing, and pretty much every single other aspect. The fact that Tsuka has been quite a unique safe haven in this market, and the fact that it's got such a welcoming community, such a positive and faithful community, I think make it the absolute best candidate as community money for the coming years. And we know the coming years are going to be rough. We know inflation is not over. We know pretty much austerity is coming worldwide in a command and control way. We know a lot of things like that are popping up. So that's why meme homes are so important, and that's why Tsuka is the absolute trailblazer and pioneer of a new kind of token that's an evolution of meme coins, pretty much.
Thanks, Justin.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
was going to piggyback off that, if that's okay, like really quick, and then I got to bounce. But what Dustin said was like right on point, pretty much. And you made a comment like when we were talking, you kind of came back at me with a counterpoint about Chainlink, right? So there's an article that was written in 1969. It was called "The Falsehood of Intrinsic Value," and I really encourage people to read it, because we have this idea that the utility of something gets like somebody's labor gets baked into the asset itself, and that is what that's what imbues it with value. And so what the argument of this article saying was essentially that's not true. What imbues something with value is just simply like the demand of people and the belief. And I always go back to that. So like when I look at like utility tokens, for example, and I'm like Chainlink is an example. You can even use Bitcoin. Like the Link token or the Bitcoin token, those are incentives, right? I mean, like the Link token is an incentive for people to donate their computing power, to provide an Oracle service. But the Link token itself, like that computing power, is not really imbued into that token. What values that token is just simply supply and demand. And that demand side, that's the belief aspect of it. And that's why I think a lot of people, I mean, if you look at like, there's a reason why SHIB and there's a reason why Ape JPEGs were the best performers from the last cycle. It was just because people believed in them so hard and they just ran so hard. And now, like, I mean, like, look at the utility that people brought for those tokens. And I see meme tokens, especially, but I see meme tokens becoming that. Like, people are going to bring the utility aspect of it, but the belief the belief is really what gives it value, in my opinion. And thanks for having me on. I really do have to bounce because it's Saturday and the Giants are playing the Eagles tonight. I got to prepare for that. But thanks, everybody.
It's going to be
I
a
just-
great game.
I just had one
really
very
quick,
last
though.
thing, my friend. Noah, if you're okay, I'm sorry. I'm going to just 30 seconds. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, I just want to say, when you really think about it, Bitcoin is a meme coin. That's all it is. You know, it's not. If people actually believe in Bitcoin, if it became so viral, if it become a major plot point in so many series and movies over the last years, it's not because people are fascinated with SHA 256. It's not because of that. It's because they're fascinated with Ryoshi. It's because they're fascinated with sovereignty, personal sovereignty and monetary sovereignty. It's because they're fascinated with the logo, with the name, with the meme, the entire narrative that's around it. That's what makes it so powerful. And even though, you know, Bitcoin maxis have been a huge pain in the ass, they've made this, you know, not so inviting. I mean, the asset itself is intimidating. It's very expensive. The initial price is very high, you know, all that stuff. And those guys are kind of being super snobs around Bitcoin. So I think they're kind of mitigating this meme dimension that makes Bitcoin so powerful. And I think that's, you know, it's kind of a chance for tokens like Tsuka, very frankly, because we're not going to be like them. We're not going to be like Bitcoin maxis. We are fully aware of what Tsuka is and why it is so powerful. There's nothing shameful about being a meme coin, especially if you're not a joke. It's actually, you know, you can actually claim that you're claiming one of the most powerful forces in history, and you're making it happen with the community. That's pretty much what it is. So yeah, Bitcoin is a meme coin, guys.
Yeah, so all day I just wanted to say that the link tokenomics are correlated to Chainlink's usage. So I mean, yeah, the more node operators there are, the more Chainlink, the more link you need to stake. So I'd love to talk more about that offline. With Bitcoin being a meme coin, I feel like we're just going to go on it. Again, I would love to have this debate on another space. I feel like we're going to start going on a different tangent, and I wanted to focus on Tsuka. I see what you're saying. I disagree that Bitcoin's a meme coin, but I see what you're saying. I understand what you're trying to get at. I want to say really quick to audience members, big thanks to the Tsuka team for coming on. If you liked what they had to say, definitely shoot them a follow. Definitely shoot us a follow at Whale Coin Talk, the co-hosts. Aisha, I know that you had a question as well. Did you want to go ahead and ask that?
Yeah, thanks, Noah. I have a couple of questions. First, as your Telegram group, Suka Meditation Research and Experiment Group is not official Suka Telegram group, so it got me thinking there must be other Telegram or Discord groups out there working for the same cause and on same philosophy. So, is your Telegram group the largest Suka research group out there? And are you the only one going to the call channels and Twitter spaces let people know about Suka and its philosophy?
Well, the Tsuka research group that you found is by far the largest, and we kind of consider it the official community TG. So it's not because we want to, it's not because the admins or whatever want to own the community. It's exactly the opposite. You know, it's been very encouraging to see how strongly the community has resisted any takeover attempts, any egotistic power trip or whatever. It's been incredibly you know, bullish from my point of view, because I've seen other communities before be derailed by individuals or you know, selfishness, all that kind of stuff. I don't think that's going to happen in Tsuka. So anyway, it's kind of important that this Telegram is recognized as kind of the Telegram of reference, because that's where all the official source of truth is. So you've got very important stuff like the contract address, the official channels. You know, if you really want to get reliable information that allows you to filter out scams, it's very important that you know about this TG, that you're in there, and that if you have any doubt about any information related to Tsuka, that is where you will get the reliable information. That being said, you have other Telegram chats that have been founded by community members, and they've got different kind of, you know, vibes and styles. You know, I'm not going to name them, but I know at least of a few. And you know, I'm part of several of them myself, and I think it's perfectly healthy and great that we have several TGs, and it's you know, it's evidence that Tsuka is truly decentralized.
Okay, understood. I was also wondering, how did you involve the Guardian's UK technology editor Alex Hung with Suka to make him write article about Suka? Although he wrote that it is a scam coin, but it gave publicity to the Suka token, as all publicity is a good publicity.
Well, I guess I'm probably going to answer that one too. Well, it's one of the things that Ryoshi does. He did some stunts very early on with Shib that went absolutely viral, and it's part of the little stunts he made at launch. He included the name of Alex Hearn and the Guardian in one of the blockchain messages, in one of the early blockchain messages he issued. And what happened after that? Quite predictably, some people went to troll Alex Hearn, and then they kind of triggered Alex Hearn. Alex Hearn came in the chat. He tried to disclaim Tsuka, whereas Ryoshi never said that Alex Hearn made Tsuka, obviously, but that's how he kind of understood it. And the result was that he got free coverage for a very, very brand new, totally unknown token in a major mainstream newspaper. And as you rightly said, yeah, I mean, obviously he trashed Tsuka. He kind of and included some general commentary about the state of the shitcoin, of the early shitcoin market. He also said later, he actually talked about Tsuka later on the radio, and he mentioned it in another article later, mentioning that he pretty much, the advice he gave about Tsuka in this article was the worst advice he ever gave in crypto. He basically told people to not touch it, and after that, you know what happened. So anyway, yeah, you're perfectly right. Yeah, he involved Alex Hearn. It was just a troll, and pretty much all that actually costed Ryoshi was a few gwei of gas for including this in a blockchain message, which is absolutely brilliant. So yeah, it's part of the Tsuka magic, a little part of the lore here. Alex Hearn from The Guardian.
Okay, it makes it clear now. Thank you. Thank you so much for answering.
Yeah, thanks for the questions, Aisha. Man, Dustin and Crypto Nut, you guys are the last men standing. I guess the rest of the community members had to drop down. Is there anything that I haven't asked about or we haven't discussed that you guys want to share with us?
Nut, you want to say something?
Sure, guys. Yeah. Look, we have discussed a lot and we've covered a lot of topics, but to me, I guess the thing that really stands out is the tokenomics. It's also the trail of discovery that once you get into the community and you start picking up on the breadcrumbs, you could start with the documentary video. Watch that, and we heard the narrative at the beginning of this Spaces, which was a long time ago now. but basically, once you get on that joyride of discovery, and you start getting the info yourself, so you're not hearing us passionate speakers or a host, challenging us. You're actually getting the information for yourself, and you're starting to say, "Wow, this is interesting. Well, if that was said, did that happen on that date? Or if that date happened, then could it be possibly someone else?" And from my own experience, once I went down that whole rabbit hole, I discovered that there's no way that this could not, well, no way. There's a 1% chance possibly that Ryoshi is not behind this. So for me, that would be, the last thing I'd want to say, and to, basically try to cajole or try to lead people down that, amazing road of discovery for yourself, for no one else other than yourself. So you can come out the other end and you can decide for yourself, wow, this is amazing. Because what I see is that everybody that goes down this path, that invests the time, they are actually jumping on this train, which is going to be running express. It will not stop any stations once it breaks 15 cents. It'll go up and down, but the trajectory is going to be up.
Absolutely. And yeah, I'd just like to add, to reiterate pretty much that Tsuka and the Senka are creating a culture. They're using memetics to do it, and we're taking this culture very seriously. yesterday there was some kind of a hyped AMA about meme coins with a bunch of projects and people, and we listened to it. We tried to get some Sanka speakers in there, and we're out of luck. But anyway, quite a few of us listened to this, and it was kind of depressing. It was very, very cynical, very, very superficial, and you pretty much had all those guys that had a very early 2021 view of what meme coins are. It was pretty much dog coins and the same old tricks. And it was very, very disappointing. You had some guys celebrating tokens that pretty much spiked over 2 days and then absolutely dumped to zero and died, and they were quoting them as like success or whatever, like of community. Come on, guys. I mean, that's not what community is. So anyway, yeah, we are building this community. We're making it community first. We are fully focused on this, and we understand that by building this community and this asset, and they are interconnected in very intricate ways, we enable any potential utility down the line. That's as Nut said before. SHIB started as just a dog coin, and then it started. People started. And Ryoshi started developing the idea of an ecosystem around this. And we think that Tsuka will do this, and will do this in a much more significant, meaningful, and powerful way. And will do it in a decentralized way that's community-based. And that's what SHIB is not doing now. SHIB is doing pretty much all the SHIB offshoots are done in a centralized way, using corporate entities that have absolutely nothing to do with the community. You've got some of the main devs or gatekeepers of SHIB today are partners of those companies, so they actually gain to make a ton of money that does not flow to the community at all. I mean, anyway, I can only speak for myself, but from what I see in Tsuka, there is zero chance that this is going to happen. And if by any chance that kind of thing was to happen, that would not be my Senga. So yeah, guys. Anyway, if you're listening to this, you don't know about Tsuka, do the giveaway. You've got a few hours left. Come and talk with us. Come see what it's all about. You will see it's the real deal. It's something absolutely different from literally every other token, and it's very hard to explain. It's something you need to feel. So just come with us. Just come talk to us. Just come engage, research, and you will understand why Tsuka stands alone pretty much in this market right now.
Well, on that note, Dustin and Crypto Nut, I want to thank you both and the rest of the community members for coming on today. I learned a lot, and I think the audience learned a lot. So I wish you guys all the best in the community building, and I hope that the ecosystem thrives the way that you're predicting it's going to thrive. I think only time will tell, but I think there's a nice amount of evidence to link the creator, or rather to identify the creator as Ryoshi. I think people could go and dive into that YouTube video I pinned to the top of the space, lets you see it. And also there's a lot of on-chain evidence that it's fun. It's a fun scavenger hunt. Look into it. I'm not saying
absolutely. And Noah, man, you two do come in the Telegram. We want to talk with you. I can feel you're a good debater. And yeah, we want to engage with you. Just come when you have a little time. Come and chat with us, and maybe me and other people will debate you. And we'd like to see you there for real, man.
I really appreciate that, man. And I definitely will pop in. See.
Fantastic, Noah. It was absolutely epic. Thank you so much for having us. Really a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, the pleasure was all mine, and thank you guys for coming on. And I mentioned in the beginning, oftentimes I'll play devil's advocate just because echo chambers are not I don't think echo chambers is actually the best environment for learning. I think it's good to have a space with contrasting opinions. So if there are no other contrasting opinions, I will oftentimes come in and play mine. Even if I agree with what's being said, I'll still throw in some contrasting opinions because I think it makes for a better broadcast. But anyway, with all that said, I wish you guys all the best. And happy Saturday to everyone. Whale Coin Talk community, remember, everything that you hear on these broadcasts is meant for educational purposes only. Nothing's financial advice. So be safe out there. Take care. For now, my name is